I don't care, bro. If I was the coach, I'm just saying for this particular scenario, I'm not just saying general. I'm saying if you bring in a Steven Adams, Draymond's ass goes to the bench, and Jimmy Butler's your four. Like I don't. I mean, unless Jimmy's going to play the three, but you're really going to have Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Steven Adams in the starting lineup? Come on now, no.
Do you see what I'm saying, y'all?
Urkel, was that what I was going to say? Is for me personally, and the easy answer to this question is Kevin Durant because he was so dominant in all facets on offense. When was the last time Steph Curry's ever played with a dominant inside score? I'm talking about like 10 feet and in. Like the ball's going in the hoop 60%, 70, almost 70% of the time. Just like a dominant.
Inside,
And
I
I'm
don't.
talking, no, I'm talking about a dominant. Like, I'm talking about, like, bro, as much as Sangoon causes problems, like, bro, that guy has a very, very, very creative inside game, bro. Like, we couldn't stop it at some points. When has Steph ever played with a guy like that? No, Andrew Bogut was good, but he was not offensively as good as Shangoon ever in his
I
career. I'm
think I
sorry.
think the issue is people who like Shingun are like people who hold the ball a lot, and like that doesn't work on this team.
I disagree. Um, it's not the style that Steve Kerr wants to play, but I think, and I'm not saying Shangoon is the player that we need to get. I'm just saying we need to find a guy because let's be honest, a lot of our scoring comes from the 3 point line or mid range. Um, Kaminga's good at drawing those fouls. I'm talking about a guy that is like dominant on the inside. Like when he gets the ball's gonna go in the hoop more often than not. I don't
Who are
care
the
if the
who
ball
are
stop. I don't care if the ball stops. Our shooting percentage is rarely above 45% from the field and rarely above 38%, 37% from three. That's just not good enough in today's league. Guys are putting the ball in the hoop at a much more efficient rate. And to me, the number one thing that we need to look for, at least offensively, is a guy that can post up, couple moves, easy layup, draws a foul and one, fade away, somebody like that. Because
who are those
I'm
guys
I'm
though?
tired I'm tired of launching 45, 50 threes a game. It's not sustainable, especially in the playoffs when defenses are better.
So
And
who are those guys? Like name them. Who do you think those guys are that
well,
would be optimal on this team?
I mean, I don't watch enough of the NBA to really pick and choose. To be honest, I really only watch the Warriors and some other games. But
No, I'm not. I'm asking you because I think those guys that you're talking about are very few in between. There's not a lot of those
yeah,
type of
it's kind
guys.
of like a lost art, if you will. But I'm just saying Sengun because we just played him. I was watching him, and I know the ball stops a lot, but like, bro, his creative, the way he can get off shots inside he's a very sneaky type of player. Like I was impressed with how good he was inside. So I think we need a player like that because if you can get a guy who's dominant scoring 10 feet and in, that can open the 3 point line. I think we rely on the 3 point line way too much. Um, so that's what I would do. Offensively, whoever that is, it could be a center. I don't care what position it is.
I feel you. I
Um,
just don't think those guys are out there like that. Like that's kind of a very
well,
specific thing that a lot of these power forwards and bigs don't have.
yeah, because a lot of the things that you got to stretch the court and shoot a bunch of threes, right? I mean, so Tim, I'm just saying that I feel like that's what we need. Like, I know Amen Thompson, like, bro, that guy has like, if he gets that inside game going, he'll be very, very good. So, like, I'm talking about a guy. It doesn't even have to be a center. I'm just talking about a guy who can get into the lane, wreak havoc, and has the 10 foot and in game. Because I feel like we rely on the 20 to 25 footers way too much. And I think for me, that'll help Steph Curry in terms of not having to carry the load on offense so much, and that will open up the 3 point line to get more open looks. So that's where I'm at, Eric. I'm just looking at this and I'm like, when was the last time we've ever really prioritized score? Inside scoring. I'm not saying like get a bunch of play. I'm just saying we need one or two guys that can do that consistently. So
So if we have inside scoring, what does that do for the ball movement?
But that's what I was
I
saying.
mean, it
That's
slows it down, but you can also, I mean, you can also find a guy who can pass, right? I mean, it's not like he's just going to take the ball every time. I'm saying a guy who can be dominant scoring, but also has the IQ to find cutters and guys at the 3 point line as well.
okay. So
So,
this how I feel. I agree with you. I'm not saying you're wrong. What I'm saying is because those type of guys are very few in between, they're gonna cost a lot. So you have to be more like realistic about, you know what I'm saying? Just what you're asking for is very specific.
I I think that we can talk about this, right? But it's like, here are the dynamics. The Warriors are not going anywhere, right? Like this version of the Warriors, unless they pull off some crazy blockbuster trade, I don't really think I don't really think anything is going to change.
like Irk, let me ask you this. Now, he's not the best player, but I think he's good. He's a good paint scorer, right? What like I'm thinking a guy like Sabonis. Like I know he's not some world beater, like he's not like an all-star caliber player, but like bro, he's good. Like he's good, he's
Okay.
good.
So I am not against the Sabonis thing. That's actually would be a good idea.
But
But
Draymond.
Draymond, right? Like
But Draymond.
right? Like I'm not against a guy like Sabonis because what you're saying is not crazy. But there's two problems with Sabonis. Two things: his contract, right? He makes a lot of money, right? So that means that you would need to get rid of Jimmy Butler, right? Are you getting rid of uh, Are you getting rid of Jimmy Butler for Sabonis?
No, well, that's the thing is I don't know the contract, I don't know the money. I'm just saying like I'm reading this thing on Sabonis right now.
Yeah,
This season, Sabonis ranks on when he touches the ball at the elbow, right? His assisting percentage is 25.3%, and Jokic on the same area is 24%. So he's averaging at a higher rate than Jokic at this one spot. Now that doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying like the guy can find players who hit shots, right?
not
Um,
not going to argue with that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's
I
true.
think I I think you're 100% spot on with that, right? From a
Yeah.
standpoint of you can run a competent offense with him. The other thing is that you got Sabonis now, great playmaker. He can run dribble handoffs. He can actually create, you know, for himself out of that action, right? He's a really good passer. Now, the defense you're going to have to cover up for the defense, right? Like a lot of these guys that are, are high level playmakers and all of that, they typically like the Jokic's. There is a challenge with them defensively, right? So, how are you going to cover up for that? So somebody like Sabonis, you would have to any big trade that we make for somebody like that, right? Uh, you know, is going to be out the door, right?
Another
So,
guy, and I know we've talked about him, Merc, Bam Adebayo.
mhm.
Um, he's only making 32.5 million AAV on his contract. I don't know if that escalates or de-escalates, but um, Bam makes 50 million starting next year.
He
Okay.
makes 50 mil starting it. God.
Well, okay. Who's better right now, Jimmy Butler or Bam Adebayo?
Mm, uh,
A 36-year-old Jimmy Butler, or I don't know how old Bam is, but I don't know. Bam is pretty good.
I don't. I mean, I don't know. He's better than
And he
Draymond for
gives you
sure. I'm not gonna say he's better than Jimmy.
and he gives you something defensively as well.
Bam Adebayo. I like Bam, but again, in this new NBA, salary is going to be a constraint. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
That's just pretty much what it's going to come down to. So, you know,
Yeah, I don't think it's a dumb take. The guy last year averaged 18 points, almost 10 rebounds a game, and shot 49% from the field.
yeah, my
I
thing
don't know.
is like I am going to try to sound or be more realistic because again, when we made that trade at the deadline for Jimmy Butler and we got a $50 million contract or a $60 million contract in Steph, right? Like, I think what we're doing at that point is that we're saying we're picking a lane. You heard what Mike Dunleavy said, bro. We're picking a lane, right? So when you look at it, Steph Curry next season makes close to $60 million. Jimmy Butler 54, right? That's a decent percentage of what they have going on here, right? So um, we're gonna get some reliefs. So we're gonna get a relief from this contract. We're gonna get a relief from this contract. So we have to find. You know that we're gonna shed even more salary than we did last season, right? We're gonna shed even more salary, right? So the spot that we're in right now is an interesting one. So when you look at all of these contracts here, we're going to get some relief in certain spots, right? But the I think it's down to the matter of can we can we fill certain spots? Now Moses Moody in this scenario is now the third leading scorer on the team. Jonathan Kuminga, where does Kuminga's money fit in? Do we re-sign Kuminga? I'm going to be honest with you. Here's what I think. I think Kuminga is going to fetch offers, right? And whatever Kuminga gets, I think the Warriors are just going to match it. Because if you think about that sign and trade is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. Now, why is the sign and trade extremely difficult? Does anyone know? Does anyone in the chat know why sign and trade is difficult? Why? They're hard capped. 50% out. So one, I think you are hard capped at that point. I don't think they really want to be hard capped. Oh, the other team gets hard capped. Sorry, you're right. So the other team gets hard capped, right? So if another team, no team wants to be hard capped, right? So that's a tough situation there, right? So half the money goes out. Do you? So a team would have to agree to that, wouldn't they? Hold on, hold on, y'all. Oh, somebody's at the. Sorry, y'all. My landscaping people were here. My bad. Um. So yeah, if if you get if you get I don't think a sign and trade works. I'm going to be honest with you. One, it hard caps the other team. So if it hard caps the other team, how many teams are going to want to be hard capped? How many teams are going to want to be hard capped? I think we retain the asset and we bring him back. I think the likelihood for him coming back is extremely high. And you cannot make that trade until January or December. I think it's like December 15th or some shit like that. So I don't think the trade is going to be made. So it's a 6-month window. Sign and trade scenarios. That's cute and all. I don't think it's going to happen. Steve Kerr wants no parts of him. Right. Come on, man.
Is it going to get to a situation where, Steve behind closed doors is like, if you don't move him, then you think he's going to just stay, even like to have coming on the roster, or do you think Lacob's going to choose?
Bro, I just think they just have to retain the asset, man. You just gotta grin and bear it. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta grin and bear it. What's this here? Plus minus pod saying that Steph was pissed that they couldn't win one game without him, and that they aren't going into the offseason saying that we had a good run into the second round, but rather everyone outside of the core needs to be reevaluated because that was unacceptable. What? Was that actually being said? No way.
The core is part of the problem, though. Like people are saying in the chat, like Draymond is part of the core, but he's the main issue. Like, I don't.
Bro, hold on. Who's requesting up? Bro, I'm telling you. So I don't know if this was said or not. Who knows? Who knows if this was said or not? But that's interesting that this was even said. Bro, Draymond and Jimmy Butler did not show up. Let's be honest about it. So we're blaming other people who make a fraction of the salary? Are you fucking kidding me? There's no way this was said.
What's up, Irk? Sorry to interrupt.
Nah, bro. This is an open dialogue, man. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I just wanted to come up here real quick and just say, I just don't understand the Draymond hate. I mean, I understand what he's done in the past, but blaming him and trying to get him off the team is just, I don't know. Like, I'm not a Draymond stan. I don't want to sound like I'm a Draymond stan, but bro, like, he was the anchor of our defense, and he led us to a top. He led us to the best defense after the All-Star break. And the
Yeah.
only we already all know this. Draymond is a Steph merchant. Almost everybody on the team is a Steph merchant. But you can't blame Draymond for his defense. I mean, I guess you can, but like to judge him based off of his play after Steph got injured and trying to trade him, I think is unfair.
I do think that's fair. And that's the point that I was making earlier. I'm like, I hear people say Jimmy Butler 60 million, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 right? This is why I don't like to torque for trades, because us torquing for a trade and us being in a vulnerable spot, it gave Jimmy Butler bargaining leverage to then ask for that money, right? Because it was either he went elsewhere, he just wrote it out, we didn't get him, and then right. So the minute we make that trade, he has all the fucking leverage in the world because we didn't get KD, right? I don't even think we even before that, I don't think it was even possible to get KD. And I don't think they necessarily wanted to pay Jimmy Butler, right? But when they made the trade, bro, they had to agree. They had to have him agree to make the trade, one, and two, within him agreeing, they had to pay him, right? But I can't sit here and say that it wasn't worth it, bro. We went on a crazy run where we had the best defense, and we were running. I think we ran like a +3, +4 offense or something like that after the trade. So I can't get mad at it, right? Like, I don't know what people expect when Steph Curry gets hurt. This is an extremely unique team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm coming up here and trying to say,
Yeah.
like, I think people are being way too harsh and judging those 4 games without Steph way too much. So that's all I'm trying to say. I think
Yeah. And
Draymond.
Urkel, if I'm being honest, this whole Jimmy Butler thing, in my opinion, they got him as trying to play some 4D chess because yes, Jimmy Butler's a great player. Like he's a great player, elevates the players around him. He had a bad injury and he tried to play through it. Could barely jump. Um, you know, but I think this Butler contract. I really think that they're gonna try to move it. Um, I think it was a chess piece, Eric. I think they wanted to do something because if they didn't do something, they would have either missed the play-in, right? I don't think, or or been a ninth or 10th seed. So I think they had to do something, and they did something. But then I think they also this wasn't the final. I don't think the plan is to keep Jimmy Butler another 2 seasons. I don't think that's the case, personally.
Want to make him use, bro? I think what you said is fair, but it's at this point, bro. It's about what Draymond isn't, right? Like Draymond talked in that press conference the other day about constantly improving, bro. We saw Aaron Gordon, you know, figure out his 3-point shot this year. We saw even Ant made a leap in his 3-point shooting this year, right? We've seen a bunch of dudes do that. Al Horford, Brooke Lopez, a bunch of dudes who, as they've aged, become competent 3-point, 3 and D guys. At some point, bro, you have to figure that out. Draymond has to figure out his shooting, bro.
I understand. I understand where you're
Can't
coming
figure
from.
out the shooting, bro. Like, and not even just the most basic of basic shooting, bro. Be able to hit a corner three at a decent level, bro. You got to be able to do that, bro. And if you can't do that, and you're just like this ultimate Steph merchant, bro, like it's you be it does it, at that point it doesn't even matter how great you are on defense, bro. Like, if you're a complete liability on offense, bro, where you need the ball in your hands, it's
I agree.
I don't
I
know
mean,
what to do, bro.
I understand where you're coming from, but like, what did we look like before Steph got injured? We were a great team, and if Steph wasn't injured, I'd say that we could have won the chip, especially with the Pacers and the Knicks probably in the finals. One of them, like, man. I mean, I don't know, man. I think you guys are just taking this. We already all know what Draymond is, but
I don't think we looked as great as people think, bro. Like, but from my perspective, I saw us lose to the Clippers, a team that got ran out the playoffs in what 4 or 5 games, 6 games maybe. Then we barely beat Memphis,
with
went
seven.
7 games with the Rockets, and we got and Fred VanVleet single handedly extended that series 7 games,
Hmm.
and then we obviously won the first game against Minnesota, but I don't think we were like I think we were a good team. I don't think we were a great team. I don't think we looked great in my opinion, but
I mean, if we have the number one defense going into the playoffs, and I mean, though we went 7 games with a really, really rough team. The Houston Rockets were young and like they're up and coming. I mean, that's what usually. I kind of understand what you're saying, but it's like I don't know, man. Like
Can
this
y'all hear
whole
me?
yeah.
Okay. My thing is this, right? Draymond could be a Steph merchant all he wants, and that's fine. But if he's supposed to be the best defender we've seen the past 15 years, which he is, he shouldn't need Steph on the court to be a great defender. Bro, he was getting baked by Julius Randle all series long.
Thank
This
Paz
is
you.
was
not
getting
like a
blown
Thank
Steph
by. He
you.
Curry
had to
thing,
cover
bro.
for mad people on the when they got blown by. We had zero perimeter defense. And
Yeah, we
when
have
you get
zero
those
perimeter
stops,
defense, sure, but I'm seeing Draymond one-on-one situations with Julius Randle in the post. He's just baking and frying this nigga, bro.
uh,
One-on-one situations where nobody else is. It's Draymond and Randle, and he's getting fucking cooked. I'm not trying to hear no Draymond. Draymond is a Steph merchant. He is. The whole roster is full of Steph merchants. But at the end of the day, bro, that doesn't count up defensively because everybody on defense is supposed to be a Draymond merchant because he's supposed to be the best defender in the league.
when you get stops and you can't score on the other end, it becomes increasingly more difficult to keep getting those stops. Draymond, we all know if he thinks that we can't win, he's gonna stop trying. That's just who he is as a player, and I hate that. But I'm saying like, and also Randall did cook him. Randall did cook him, but Randall had a great series. I mean, did you see the shots that he was hitting? He had a magnet ball. He had a magnet ball, did he not?
Bro, if
he was.
Draymond is the best defender that we claim he's supposed to be, he's not supposed to be getting cooked by Julius fucking
He's
Randle,
not
bro.
supposed to be getting cooked by Julius Randle, bro.
And you look at what Julius Randle's making. He's making like 29 M's a year. Draymond's making 25. And look at the production. It's literally night and day, bro. Like,
Bro,
bro, it's
Draymond was
Draymond
a
was
impossible.
literally
depoy
on his fucking
finalist.
podcast campaigning for DPOY, and
I
then
would
he
do the
get to the
same.
playoffs and
I'm
laid
trying
a
to get an award.
stinker. He
He
laid a
got robbed out of
stinker defensively in the playoffs, bro.
he had a stinker after Steph got injured though.
Bro, he there was questionable moments in that Houston series. Outside of that game 7, there was questionable moments in that Houston series. He was he was just bad defensively this whole entire Minnesota series. He should not need Steph on the court to be a good defender. Why are we paying him 25 million for defense? If he can't stop Julius Randle one-on-one, then this nigga shouldn't be getting 25 million dollars.
It's that simple,
Yeah,
bro.
I agree. I agree with the point with the idea that the lack of offense contributed to him wearing down on defense and whatnot. Because I've seen him, we saw him lock up Giannis and Zion this year with no issues. Like we've seen him do
But
it
my thing is
on
this:
way better players than Zion than Julius
why does the offense freeze up? Why does the offense
because of
freeze up?
him. That's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying though.
Yes,
Like
because of
his,
him.
hold
his
on.
defense, I have a bigger issue with the fact that his game hasn't modernized. Like you have to modernize your offensive game, bro, to some degree.
Agreed.
Like you
If you
have to.
make
Agreed.
a macro, if we make a macro argument or even a micro argument and we say, you know, the macro argument would be, uh, when we can't score, the defense gets affected, right? And then we look at the Draymond thing and we're like, Draymond is this, right? But when no offense is there, he's gonna. I think the thing about Draymond is that he's not going to shut down a single defender. I don't think you can necessarily shut down a single defender, right? I think what you can do is that you can run a high level offense, right? But you try to generate stops within that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you put Giannis out there, right? And you play the cat and mouse game, right? And then you know that you have to go down there and score. I think the collective toll of what happened to Draymond in this series is that, bro, they just couldn't score. And it's like, fuck, like, if you can't score, then it's definitely going to affect your defense. You know what I'm saying?
But Urkel, don't you agree that he's a part of the reason why they can't score? Isn't he a part of the
Well,
reason?
well,
He's standing
be a
top
hundred,
A with the
be
ball
be
with
be a
Steph on
hundred
the
percent,
court.
be 100%. But I'm going to be honest with you, based on what the salary structure is, right? We're caught in a bad marriage, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Fucking god, bro. Yeah,
So
no, I agree,
listen,
but I'm just
it's
not gonna sit here and
bro.
listen to.
Listen. It's cool that people can say, "Oh, he was this, he was that." Right? End of the day, we're caught in a bad marriage. That's just what it is, man. I mean, like, I actually agree with y'all. I want him up out of here, but
Bro,
at
I
the
want him
same
gone.
time, bro, I've been in some messy type of situations before, personally. right? And guess what? Sometimes you get to the point where you're like, yeah, you're kind of stuck. You know what I'm saying? And the cost that it's going to cost you to get out of that situation, you might as well just end up staying.
Yo, what's up, y'all?
CJ, what up? Welcome back, brother.
What up? What up? Yeah, I had to, get up off of playback. It was just like, when you spend a bunch of time debating basketball, and then you get into like spirited debates, and then it's like, it could kind of like irk you, and then say what was happening with me was like my kids would like come over and, hey, daddy, look at this, and I'll be like, be quiet, leave me alone. I'm like in a bad mood. It's like, okay, this shit, this shit is getting too much. I was like, I need to chill out. I need to fall back. Like, can't be being mean to my kids because, you know, just a bunch of annoying ass people saying stupid shit, and you know what I mean. So it's like I don't really care. Other than that, but it sucks that our season ended, and I'm glad to be back here. Had to come through. Seeing you guys are having a good conversation. Urkel, me and you, we've talked plenty of times, on the phone and whatnot from
Yeah.
before. So we've been keeping up, but hey guys, glad to be back. I'm not gonna be here a ton, but I wanted to chime into the conversation. I do think that the Minnesota series kind of like exposed that the Warriors are too like Steph dependent. And while it's like you want to have like Steph fits, I think the problem is like when for one, it forces Steph to put on the cape and kind of like carry us, but it also like it sets everybody up for like when he's not on the floor or when he misses games, they don't know how to play. They literally don't know how to play. And I think, we could talk about all kinds of things. I think the most disappointing thing for me was, for one, we couldn't get one game, and two, I just felt like, and maybe I'll get killed for this, but I just felt like they were kind of like picking on Jimmy, and maybe they knew he was compromised. I don't know. Maybe this is just who he is, but they were like calling him up in ISOs. They were attacking the spots where he was at. Draymond was also getting annihilated by Julius Randle. Like, I don't know. I was kind of upset because I felt like if there's anybody who was up for the job, it was Draymond. But I get it. We were in like a position where it's like you can't score. So now they're forcing a missed basket because the ball is gonna find a non-shooter, or we're gonna get a shot clock violation, and then they're just gonna push the ball in transition, off of a miss. Now we can't set up our defense. Now we got a foul, or we're in a scramble and they move the ball, boom, wide open three. Nobody could stay in front of Ant, um, or you're having to send doubles. They move the ball around, boom, wide open layup or dunk, or a three. And so I'm not gonna say like it's because Draymond can't defend. I think that his lacks got exposed because we can't create a good offense without Steph. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that, oh, it's the offense is the issue. It's more just like, because I think the defense was an issue too, even in like the half court, but it was getting amplified because they're scoring off of our misses.
My thing is, and that's exactly what it is, bro. That's exactly what it is right there. Like, Brandon came up here earlier and he actually made a good point, and he said that that when we would have had to slow the pace down to really have any chance of winning that game. And once we started to push the pace, we didn't have a chance. Because within pushing the pace, that means that you're pushing the pace against a team that is better than you offensively, right? So
Yeah.
sure, you're going to push the pace and you're going to get better buckets, but guess what? You are going to get them more into scramble situations where they can make you scramble, right?
Yeah,
And
because it turns
it's
into a
so much,
shootout.
bro. And it turned into a shootout. And guess what? we don't have the guns to go up against them in a shootout. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I was asking the question this morning. I'm like, yo, if you get into a shootout with them, TJD, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, are you serious? You know what I'm saying? Right? And me and you were talking the whole time, and I was saying to you, I was like, bro, why is TJD out there? TJD would not be out there with Steph Curry. So why are you going to compound the situation with TJD? And this is why I was saying to you, I was saying to a lot of people, I was like, bro, how does it make any sense that TJD wasn't out there? Steph Curry, I seen a tweet earlier where they said that Steph was annoyed that they couldn't win one game. And why are you annoyed? Look at your head coach. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, look at your head coach and ask the question, why the fuck did you go with TJD? And I'm not
Kirk,
attacking TJD, but it's putting TJD in there with dudes who,
I was
how
just gonna
many of them
say
made a bucket for
whose
themselves?
game plan is it to insert TJD and push the pace? That's on the head coach.
Bro, it's Steve Kerr. It's Steve
But
Kerr.
okay, so I want to ask you a question because
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Kerr is devoid of blame, but I also like to ask why. I think we have that in common. We like to ask why, right? Why
Yeah.
TJD? You know? Why when Draymond's been playing the 5 and that's been where he's mostly effective, why did we all of a sudden lean into TJD when we already just lost our basically our main source, our only source of spacing? Why would we insert another non-spacer? It doesn't make any sense. I
It
think
makes
I
no
think
sense
it
to me.
was a Draymond concession. He didn't want to play the 5.
So we are going to toss the series because of a Draymond concession. Because the minute we
We
inserted
tossing the
TJD,
series because Draymond don't feel like
You
it,
you
bro.
can't
Get
make
the
a
fuck
Draymond
out of here,
concession
man.
when Steph is there because you're going off of primarily what's best for Steph. What was best for Steph was Draymond at the 5 playing the trigger man, not Draymond at the 4 playing the trigger man, because now you have a center mucking up the spacing with the ball always finding its way to Draymond wide open for 3 somewhere. Which kept happening, right? So now that Steph's not there, well, you're gonna make a consent. Well, if Steph's not there, like, can we at least put a center in there so I don't gotta bang, with Julius Randle? So they put TJD in there to bang with Randle to try to make Draymond a help defender. I get it if you try it one time. I just don't understand why they didn't try anything else. You know what I mean? I understand if you want to try to keep Draymond out of foul trouble, you want to try to, put Draymond as a help defender. My question is, why did we keep starting TJD? Why didn't we try anybody else? I don't know. It was
CJ,
kind of frustrating.
I would have bit the bullet on quitting post instead. If say you have a political problem,
Speaking of post,
say you have a political problem with putting Jonathan Kaminga in there. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because,
I
you
think
know,
it was definitely political.
bro, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Draymond grabbed like how many rebounds in this series? You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, you're hearing rebounding become an issue. What?
They
So
say
you
that
can't
post
pick
was
at the scoring
unplayable.
because he's scoring. You can't really pick at the scoring because he was scoring efficiently, right? And he was
Yeah,
scoring within the flow of the offense, within them not featuring him or calling anything for him, right?
talking about
And he was
JK.
scoring. Yeah, and he was scoring within that. So if you can't pick at that, then you pick at the rebounding. So what about Draymond's rebounding?
I don't think he was rebounding particularly well. The thing about Post, now he was getting it. They tried him, I think, in the game 2, one of them games, and they got annihilated in the first quarter. It was like a
Yeah,
13-0 or something. What I don't understand is with Post, they were running like a man coverage. instead of like a zone to keep him out of those high ball screens. I don't understand why they were doing that, but then we were running a ton of zone with like the smaller lineups.
Mhm.
And then when you think of like the political aspect, I think that post in a zone defense would have helped guys like Jimmy and JK, especially JK. I almost wonder if like they let him look unplayable, so then that's like off of the table. And maybe I'm gonna sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I mean I think that that series kind of exposed the politics to everybody who like is watching with without rose tinted glasses on.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know because you see once they threw in that unit when they gave up a game four and it was like Gee, Post, Moody, and they like kind of got back in the game or whatever. Do you remember that game?
Yep.
Um, they ran a zone. They were running a zone with Post down low to keep him out of those ball screens so then he can help in the paint. I don't understand why they didn't try that. Well, it's because he would have helped the spacing. It would have made JK look like, even better than he was. I almost feel like after that game where he dropped like 30, they lowered his minutes, if you guys didn't notice, and he only had like 23. I think he would have had 30 again if he played the same minutes. I think that they kind of ran into a
TJ,
situation where they were,
that's not far fetched, bro. I know exactly what you're saying.
and I get it. I'm gonna get accused of being like a JK stan. I have this like thing where I think I might be a little acoustic, where when there's something that like irks me, I like hyperfixate on the topic, and I've just been noticing this thing with JK, and it's I don't know. I guess I've kind of become like a little hyperfixated on the topic, but I'm a Warriors fan first and foremost. In the situation where we are in, I would like to at least just get something good for him that can help. But there's a lot of different uh what is the word, complications that
CJ,
go into it.
CJ, you don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Steve Kerr, because Steve Kerr doesn't want him here, he's going to put him in a position to fail, to show everybody, yeah, I can't play this guy.
Yeah, of course, but I don't
I
think it's
mean,
just Steve
I don't
Kerr.
put it past Steve, bro.
I don't think it's just Steve Kerr.
Who
I
else do
think
I
a
you think
lot
think
of
it?
this.
I think
I
that the
think a lot
vets
of
are
this
in on it
Kaminga
too.
shit. No, I think a lot of this Kaminga shit is it's also front office not wanting to pay him his full value as well.
A
The
thousand
printing of the
percent.
contract, the
A
printing of the
thousand
contract.
percent. Because if they
Kind of
pay him,
like
they'll go
look
into
at
second
Moody.
apron.
Yeah, look at Moody, bro. Yeah, Moody.
Yep. They're trying to Moses Moody him. Exactly. They
Moody.
tried to Moses Moody him. The worst possible thing that could have happened to them was what just happened, where
Yeah,
somebody goes down, they're forced to play JK, and he looks like the best player in the floor.
bro. 3 straight games of 25 plus, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nasty. And then now you got all these ex players and ex agents and whatnot, um, talking about it on their podcast, posting about it on social media. What is going on? How did they have this guy in the bench? There's something going, like they're calling it out. So do you think that helps the Warriors leverage in any way? Like I see
No,
people talking about different like trades and stuff you could try to flip them for. The Warriors have no leverage in this situation. Like, okay, can I yap for a second, Urkel?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I want y'all to like hear me out for a second, right? I know everybody's like, oh, sign and trade, sign and trade. Here's the problem with a sign and trade, right? Now, a sign and trade, for one, any sign and trade hard caps the team that receives the person, right? But
Correct.
the thing about a guy like JK, who's about to get a significant salary increase, he's subject to this thing called base year compensation. It's called BYC. And basically, how it works is for the Warriors' equation of matching salary, JK's salary will count at 50%, right? So, in order to match the salary of like say you're trying to get a $20 million player back, right? Or let's use Cam Johnson because it ties into my next point. Cam Johnson, he has a cap hit of like 24 million. So you need to get 24 million. Well, let's sign JK to 24 million. Well, the 50% would make it count as 12. So now you need to tie in like Moses Moody. So now that's another contract that you could have used in a different deal to increase your depth, right? But then here's another issue. Because it hard caps the team receiving, you have to compensate them for getting hard capped. And if you want Cam Johnson, who is their best asset, who was the hottest trade target on the market this past season, but they were asking a little too much, right? Or way too much, in my opinion. They were asking for a young player and three firsts. They're gonna say, "Well, hey, you want our best asset? We just got five unprotected, uh, and a protected and a swap for McHale. We're gonna somebody's gonna pay up, right? Why should we give him to you? Pay us two first as well, you know? And that's a problem because now you have you just got a role player, you just lost a contract, you just lost one of your best young players, and yeah, you got a guy who's a better system fit, but you lost two picks. So now your hands are really really tied. But here goes the worst part of why the Nets could have all the leverage in that situation. They can sign JK into their cap space without needing a trade. So they'll say, why should we do a trade with you? We'll wait for him to hit the open market and we'll just give him a front loaded contract where if you guys have to if you guys match it, you guys are now deep into the second apron and you have no way to improve your team. So then here's the issue with that, right? If they allow JK to hit the open market and the Nets do offer him that money and the Nets are the most interested team in him. I mean, they're interested in Zion and Giannis as well, but I don't know if they'll be able to get those guys. They're most interested in JK out of every other team. There's a couple others like the Bulls, the Kings, etc. But out of them, if they go and offer JK an offer sheet, especially a big one, so now this big one is like, damn, do we really want to pay JK 4 years, 160, 40 million a year, whatever, blah blah blah, right? And then now the last years of Steph and Jimmy and them were in the second apron, or do we just let him walk for nothing, right? Because the thing is, when you give him an offer sheet, the sign and trade option is off of the table now. Because if JK accepts an offer sheet, you can no longer do any sign and trades with anybody, not even the team that he's going to. You can only accept the offer, you can only match it or let him go. So it's in the Warriors' best interest to frantically, desperately search for a sign and trade partner before he's able to hit the market, or negotiate a contract with him before he's able to hit the market. Because if they try to lowball him, he could just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna see what the market gives me. And now the Warriors are screwed.
So back to what we were saying, um, you know, when they put the offer on the table, right? We were screwed in any case
Yeah,
because because when they didn't pay him the money, right? These are like the pros and the cons and all of that stuff, right? So now the relationship is bad, right? Now the relationship is bad. Now he doesn't want to come back, and I don't think they want him back.
yep.
And he, especially Steve, and I don't think the vets want him back either, right?
I
Because
don't
it's too
think that Draymond and Steph and Kerr. I think Jimmy kind of earned a little like he earned a little respect with Jimmy. Jimmy was
yeah.
talking about working out with him in off season.
Um, I I think you can fix anything, but man, it's the
Do you
guy's young.
think do you think that they saw what he did in that series despite his circumstances, all the adversity they lumped onto him? Do you think that they looked at it and been like, "You know what? Maybe like it tested their convictions a little bit. Like, you know what? Maybe we're kind of looking at this the wrong way, and this could be a guy that we could kind of like lean on a little bit to help
Nah,
us."
nah, nah. Their
No.
convictions wasn't tested. Their
You know,
convictions.
okay. Well, okay, I
How could
guess their convictions would have been
no, it's
tested
a great.
if he
That's a
won
great
them games.
question. That's a great question to ask, but I just find it hard to believe. Like history usually repeats itself, and after 4 years, are we taking the probability of an anomaly happening or occurring because of 4 game sample size, or are we going to go off of what we have seen? We've seen him play well, get hurt, come back, DNP. We've seen him play well, get hurt, come back, DNP. I'm
And I'm
putting
gonna
my
be
money
The
on
way
honest.
I've
Giannis
seen
and
it is
history.
like every single time this guy gets runway, he kind of sort of looks like a star. Not gonna
No,
lie.
but look,
But the
here,
thing about
CJ,
that is,
hold on. Before you get
well,
that point off, CJ, let me leave you with great context, and then y'all can do what you will. Do you notice that both times JK has looked like an emerging star? It's been when somebody got hurt. Steph Curry gets hurt.
That's
JK
not that's not
arises.
that's not true, Bruce. Bruce,
No,
that's not true.
Yeah,
hold on.
because they
Hear me
had
out.
they
Can
had
I
no
make my
choice.
point,
They
baby?
had
Not
no
true.
Can I
choice but
make
to
my
lean on
point?
him,
Let's
and then
let's stop.
every
Let's
single
stop
time
making.
he
Let's
showed
stop
up.
trying to argue. I'm not trying to make an
Yeah,
argument,
yeah, yeah,
bro.
I know.
I like Jonathan Kaminga. I do feel like he's been given an unfair advantage or unfair table to dine from. But just listen to the point I'm making and stop trying to take everything as negative criticism.
Oh,
Steph
I'm
Curry
not
was
taking it that way. He might.
Draymond Green was suspended. Hear me out. Draymond
Yeah,
was suspended. Kaminga came in. He played exceptional. This season, this guy was playing well. Other guys on the Warriors were struggling. Right, Melton went down, and then Steph Curry doesn't play this series. You put Kaminga because they put Kaminga in the Rocket series, and they also didn't play him long. You put Kaminga
yeah,
in this series, he plays exceptional. So I am just saying, right, because essentially you're paying guys to play well when everybody's there. So I am saying, is there a possibility they're looking at it as well? Like, no, we need him to replicate that next to other guys, and he hasn't been able to do that, or we're not putting him in a position to do that. This is the reason why my money is on him leaving ultimately, not them
yeah, yeah.
finding out some of the
I think he's
numbers.
gone too.
and
I think
honestly,
they should have got
The
off of him earlier though.
only reason, hey Bruce, the only reason I'm pushing back on that, bro, is that it falls in line with Kerr's whatever he wants to call it, trying to push to us the fans that JK can't play with the other dudes, bro.
But
We
Ben,
saw for
Ben,
it too, but Bruce, Bruce,
Kerr
Bruce.
is
Urkel,
just a
We
Urkel,
puppet
saw
in this
for a
Urkel,
2 month
situation. He's
Urkel
stretch,
just
played
a
Bruce,
something.
messenger,
Bruce,
man.
Bruce,
Urkel
Bruce.
played
We
something
saw
for
for
y'all
a
this
2 month
year.
stretch, Bruce. We saw for a 2 month stretch, JK played with
What I'm
those other
saying
guys
is,
and played
Urkel
well,
showed
Bruce.
y'all in the
Bruce,
clip.
Bruce, Bruce.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
reasonable coach, after what JK showed last year, would give that guy 25 to 30 minutes, if not more, to show what he can do, right?
And
He
what you
gave
just said
him
is
15
beautiful.
minutes
We
a
don't
game
have
at
a
the beginning of
reasonable
the season,
coach.
Bruce.
We don't have a
He gave him
reasonable
15
coach. We
minutes a
have a
game,
coach.
dog.
We have a
Huh?
coach who played Festus Ezeli in Game 7 against the Cavs because he
I,
loved Festus Ezeli.
I
And
understand, Bruce, but what I'm
Festus
saying that
Ezeli is.
he's
Mm,
already shown it for a stretch. And if you give a guy 15 minutes at the beginning of the season, and then after that, bench him after 3 games of
you,
15
you,
minutes a game, bro, and then
you know
tell
the
the
reason.
fans that he can't play with Steph, he can't play with Draymond,
but
You
I'm
know
gonna
the
be
reason
doesn't
why
matter.
we
honest.
struggle.
You're
You know the reason
gaslighting
why
the
I'm
we
gonna be
fan base,
honest,
struggle.
bro.
bro.
You know the
If
reason
you
why we
already
struggle
know the
when we
coach is
have these
doing that, why
conversations.
is why exactly would you bring back JK, or why would JK want to come back if that's the shit that's happening?
Hold on,
If you
Glorious,
already
Glorious,
know that the coach don't
What's
like
up,
him, there is
Bruce?
no point to
Glorious.
keep him.
Hold on, Glorious. Here's what I'm saying. The reason why we struggle when we have these conversations is because you guys are being practical. You cannot be practical with a coach that's not being practical. You see what I'm saying?
No,
Practical
but I'm
means
saying,
you
go
put it,
ahead,
hear me out, man.
go ahead,
Practical
my bad.
means you put in Kaminga. Wow, Kaminga's giving us something nobody else on the team is giving us without Steph. So, so logic says continue to feed that. What does Steve Kerr do? As Urkel said, he starts TJD. So we're trying to use logics to or rationale to explain an irrational coach, right?
Yeah,
With
but
irrational decision making.
if you let me land, as Katz
Go
always
ahead, go
says,
ahead.
if you let me land, I can explain why. You
Go
know,
ahead.
so Steve Kerr, I think that he's a great coach, but he has some flaws, right? As everybody does. He's got favorites. He's got his problem is that he's loyal to a fault to his vets. I understand being loyal to Steph. I actually called him kind of a hero for being loyal to Steph when the front office was going against him, right? I don't think he gets enough credit for that. But it goes to a fault when you're not doing it in the name of like actually winning. You're doing it and trying to protect your guys from either getting exposed or like losing their spot. Because this is what happened. At first, it was that Wiggins and JK couldn't play together, right? So they're protecting Wiggins. Oh, JK's not a 3, he's a 4. But the problem with saying that he's a 4 is now it's him or Draymond. because Draymond plays the four in the regular season, and then when it really matters, he plays the five, right? But the problem with that is when you give JK runway as the four, he looks awesome. So who is that? Who does that put on the hot seat? It puts Draymond
There
on the
you
hot
go.
seat.
There you
And
go.
so why do you see TJD out there? Because Draymond they're trying to protect Draymond's four spot at all costs. Because getting Jimmy for one was already a reality check that his spot is probably gone. Because Jimmy at this stage in his career is probably best off as a four because guarding those quick threes is going to be hard
100%.
for him because he was getting
100%.
cooked. He was getting cooked that whole series by no matter who it was. They were taking turns calling up Jimmy.
The
And I think a
last 3
little bit
years
of
in
that is he
Miami,
was like
Jimmy played 4.
compromised. But
The last 3 years in Miami, he was
that's
a
why
4
Miami played a ton of zone too. So Jimmy didn't have to like work so hard. And now I was
Yeah.
gonna bring that up next. That's why they ran so much dang zone. But like in that into that series, even though they were making it rain from three and breaking our zone in the paint as well, you know, it's they're trying to protect Draymond at all costs. They did the same shit with Looney and GP2.
Hey,
They put
CJ.
what's up?
No, I'm not cutting you. I'm actually adding to that point you're making.
Yeah.
We have literally been placed in this position because of the protecting of the vets. And the only
Mm-hmm.
veteran that should have been protected was Steph Curry. They protected Klay Thompson and his ego by benching Jordan Poole after an 18-2 start and a 5
Yep.
0 playoffs. And, the way they ended the season before the losing and the play-in, and then starting the preseason and then starting 18-2, and to bench Jordan Poole after playing almost miraculously, right? And then now you do the same thing as CJ, you're pointing out to protect Draymond, you're playing these irrational lineups, irrational minutes or rotations rather, and then it almost to me honestly. When you were saying something earlier, why didn't make a change? I think they waved the white flag the moment Steph Curry went down, bro.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was gonna get to that next. I was just gonna tie all the pieces together. I think they quiet quit. I think they quiet quit when they knew that it was a hamstring and it was going to take till game six. And I think after that game three, they really tried in game three. And then when, Draymond like basically blew it, Jimmy was kind of like, yeah, this is, Jimmy, because we both watch a lot of Heat. When Jimmy knows that they don't have it, he's not going to kill himself out there, especially in the condition he was in. I think that they were kind of like they knew that it was cooked or whatever, but like the young guys, they don't know any better, so they were like out there, giving it their all. I don't like that they just quiet quit, but like what irked me is Draymond, you didn't see the same fiery passion arguing. Just he didn't even get a tech or anything. Like if you're just gonna foul out, get 5 turnovers and 2 points, at least go get a tech or something. Like come on, man, do something, right? And I also didn't like that we didn't make any like schematic adjustments either. So that's when I started to say like my suspicions were true. This is politics because it took all of this for y'all to unleash him. And even though he's giving you something to build off of, instead of trying to build off of it and try to pull out a win, you play him less minutes to try to keep him from producing. And I get it. I don't even think it's all the way on like the coaching. I think it's also like the front office. They might be like, "Shit, we can't let this come out because we almost got over the finish line." Suppressing his value, right? And another thing, obviously, Draymond. I heard I was listening on the Twitter stream. Urkel said something yesterday about how guys, in the league, they're trying to hold on to that NBA check as long as possible, and that made me think something. So Draymond, he's trying to stay a starter as long as he can. So then when they go to get their next extension, because I don't think they're done after these 2 years, he wants to get as big of one as possible. But if he gets moved to that bench, they're gonna significantly cut his money. That's why you see him opening a restaurant, doing his podcast. He's really trying to get to his bag while he still can. The last thing he needs is to have to hand over the torch to a young guy and now be a vet and get paid, you know, vet money, be the new Iguodala. But that's kind of like where he's at. And I'm not like killing Draymond. He's a franchise legend. I think that he earned the right to try to protect his spot. As fucked up as that sounds,
But that's
this
why
is
we're in the
this is Steph
predicament we're
Curry's
in.
house. This is Draymond's house. This was Clay's house. They all earned the right to go for it, to go all in. Right. That's why they got Jimmy. They earned the right to try to protect their spots. First, it was Clay. Poole had a great case to take his spot. They let Clay try to protect it anyways, and then Pods ended up taking it. And I don't think that Pods necessarily like deserved it, but what Steph needed superseded Clay, and Steph needed a ball handler next to him. That's what Pods provided. That's ultimately why Clay lost his starting spot. They still tried to the detriment of games, even right, to try to make that work because he earned it, right, as a franchise legend. They're doing the same thing with Draymond, but what this series just showed is that everybody gets a reality check eventually, right? And for him, everything was getting exposed. The whole in the previous series how they gave him, or was it this series? They gave him like a flagrant or something like that for like a rip through. I think it was in this series. It was like in game 1 or something like that. And or one of those games. But you guys know what I'm talking about. It was because he has a history. And then the next game, the refs were just like calling everything and he got in foul trouble. And then, Julius Randle's taking his lunch money because that's probably the worst matchup possible for Draymond. I think he's good against pretty much every other type of matchup. It's those like low center of gravity, big, bruiser fours who also can pass. Those guys are like his nightmare. Game 2, okay. And and then on top of that, with Steph out, he couldn't lead the team to a victory. Him and Jimmy. So I think that was more of an indictment on them than anything. And that's why Draymond in his postseason presser, he said something. They asked about what is going to be the team's five or whatever. How are they going to handle that situation? And he joked that he's the five of the future. And he acted like it was a joke, but then he also said, but if they ask me, it's either play start at the five or come off the bench. I'm gonna start at the five, and you guys can go listen. He said that, which exposes his I guess you could say like agenda or desires all along. He was just trying not to get moved to the bench, and people will say, "Oh, CJ, well he came off the bench for JK earlier in the year. That was like 2 to 3 games, and he was nursing an injury. I don't even think he played all those games." And it barely lasted. And then the game that he came back was our worst defensive game. So I'm not calling out Draymond. I'm just calling out the situation. And I understand it. I think that he earned the right to like get a look. But I think at some point, it's like I think that we get the best version of Draymond next season if he came off the bench because he'd have fresher legs. He'd be able to restore the order and help bridge our rotations. I mean, I know it sounds like, and that's even if you let JK walk, by the way, because I think Jimmy has to play at 4, like for a whole season. So I hope y'all don't take that as me attacking Draymond. I certainly could like push that narrative if I wanted to, but I'm a Warriors fan. I'll always have respect and appreciation for Draymond, and I understand how important he is to our team. Quite frankly, our defense can't survive without him. I think that's got to be our number one priority in the offseason.
CJ, can I ask you a question?
What's up, bro?
Because you just said, first of all, it's sad that you even got to preface it that way, because every time it seems like a fan constructively criticizes a player, you're not a fan and you're fake and
Yeah, it
blah blah
turns into
blah,
a
and you got
freaking
to
war.
defend yourself. So before that call interrupted me, so basically, I was going to ask you: did Andre Iguodala did he play a pivotal role to the Warriors dynasty at all?
Of course, he
Did
made
he
it
come off?
possible.
Did he come off the bench?
Yeah, he was
Now,
a
granted,
starting level player when he came to the Warriors, and he got
now
asked to come
granted,
off the bench.
granted, he wasn't necessarily 35 at the beginning of that whole experience. But the reason why I pose that question is because, regardless of age, there was still a great value there. And when it mattered most, didn't he start?
Yeah, and he closed when it
Right,
mattered most too.
right.
And
So
Draymond can still do those things. He can still close when it matters, start when it matters. But to do that consistently over 82 game season,
this is the reality, right? The reality is when people say like, "Oh, Steve Kerr's offense," I think the biggest thing that's been figured out, or the Warriors have been figured out, I think it's always been Draymond, right?
Yep.
And because teams are going to allow him to shoot, and because he's limited, right? The only way to fully optimize Draymond is put him next to a big who can rim run and shoot the three and block shots. But guess what? There are no bigs out there available that could really do that the Warriors can afford. So you'll
Yeah.
always have to settle for a specialist, be a Litza, Omri Caspi, or
EJD.
what's or Jonas Jerebko. You always got to go try and get these other guys to put next to him to do some of those things and allow him to be that help defender as you stated. But as you mentioned, I am honestly thinking this man could have probably or should have probably been lost his job years ago. And Klay Thompson, we love Klay Thompson, but it's the same experience going on. And Klay was so frustrated, and I get it because he had catastrophic injuries that got to take a toll on your psyche. Whereas Draymond has always been available, but he's always messed up every scenario, whether Kevin Durant or yelling at Steve Kerr in the locker room, OKC, I'm not a bleeping robot, and the
Bruce,
list
I'll
goes on and
say,
on.
Bruce, I'll say that this is maybe the first season that he would like lose his starting spot because of basketball, if
And
that
if you
makes
ask
any
him that,
sense.
no, correct. But if you ask
Because
him that,
before he was impacting in the biggest way, and even this year, he still was holding down our defense, right? But it was coming at a cost as well. They always talk about opportunity cost with JK. I think there was an opportunity cost with him as well, but it's all we know. And the other reasons before was like non-basketball, like the punch, the suspensions and all that.
this year, I mean, if you was to ask him that, he's going to tell you he should have won Defensive Player of the Year. So how could you bench the Defensive Player of the Year, right? That's not normal. And my thing is, it's not even about a bench. I just feel like if you want change, right, some things just have to be replaced. And you can't replace it on the margins, Like, I love Gary Payton, but going back to trade for him, which he's never really been healthy. They did get him back healthy this year. He probably played a lot more games than he did over the past two previous years. Because I think the past two previous years he played like 40 plus games, not that much. But it just the love and the effect of nostalgia just puts you in these situations. We know Steph Curry is high value. We know when you put competent players next to him with new energy or whatever, you see the value, you get out of it. But you always got to you mentioned a flagrant. You always got to mention going into a game knowing you can be in foul trouble, knowing the refs can be against you because one player is going to act erratic and cuss at them and do things like that. And there's this reputation and disdain. So there's so many concessions that you have to make, right? Whether it was protecting one shooter's ego, now you're making that to protect one guy who telling you he's not this crazy man, which nobody says you're crazy, bro. Like it's just so many different stuff, and it's just a damn shame, bro, because it shouldn't take that to win a playoff game. And so many guys have been injury riddled this playoffs, even last playoffs. It's been up for the taking, bro. But you got to
You're in the
continuously
blender,
make
Bruce.
concessions. So
Bruce, you're in the blender. This man fell all the way out.
We need defenders, man. All this stuff is cute. Draymond needs help. We need defenders.
yeah, yeah, I'm about to go back in the office, man. But I'm just saying, Shadow. Even on that note, help is needed, but let's not do it on the margins from the standpoint of just being specialists. You feel what I mean?
No, I totally understand, but the problem is anybody that we have aspirations and dreams and hopes to get, Steve Kerr's not going to play him. Like I have finally accepted it after a decade of basketball. There's just Steve Kerr guys, and then there's not.
Yep.
So I'm not going to go out here on a limb and think that there's gonna. Steve Kerr wants what he wants. Like Steve Kerr's not stupid. He knows what he needs. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
I've accepted this a long time ago, and when people come in here and y'all get mad at me and y'all like trades and this and that, and you see me shoot down this trade and I shoot down that trade and I shoot down this trade. It's not that I think your trade ideas are dumb or that they don't work, in another context, right? But the problem is that when you have Steve Kerr out there and you know, CJ brought up a point about how people try to protect that NBA check. Bro, it's a beautiful check. Some guys make 10, 15, 20, 30 million dollars, you know what I'm saying? And you want to protect that as long as possible. So if you have players wanting to protect their thing, why shouldn't I think a coach wouldn't want to do the same, right? So you know what a coach is protecting? They're protecting their check and they're protecting their philosophy, right? Their philosophy is what they're bound by, right? So if they don't, that's what differentiates them from everyone else. You know what I'm saying? So when you have a player that comes in and he runs counter to what the coach wants to do, how do you think that's going to work out? That's not going to work out very well. It's not going to work out very well at all. So if you bring that Kerr will sabotage, and we call it cut off nose to spite face. He will cut off nose to spite face to protect his philosophy, right? So he's not going to bring certain guys in. And you see, because they went on that run and all of that, it emboldened people even more to run his system. You know what I'm saying? And I asked the question this morning. I was like, if you put any other player out there with what just happened, who would have worked? Who would have worked with TJD? Who would have worked with Draymond on the floor? Who would have worked with Pods on the floor? Bro, there's not many people that would have made that work. After the deadline, bro, and nobody can convince me otherwise, bro. There's not a motherfucker on here that can convince me that putting TJD out there was sabotage. No one can convince me, bro. Because that shit ain't make no sense. I want somebody to come up here and give me a basketball reason why TJD played. I promise you can't do it. I promise no one can make the basketball argument. Because when Draymond was at center, that was the optimal thing for the man movement, the ball movement, the spacing, and creating spacing through movement. That's why Draymond was at center. So how the fuck is that going to work for Jimmy Butler? This is why I'm not even coming down on Jimmy Butler like most people are, because what the hell you expect Jimmy Butler to do when you got TJD and Draymond out there? And his style is an isolation style. Isolation and playmake. How the hell would that work? But when Jonathan Kuminga is out there, people are going to tell you about spacing. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Don't insult me with that shit. That's crazy to me. And then what pisses me off is how people are buying off and just accepting. They're just accepting it. They're just accepting the shit. So I don't expect to get Giannis or anything like that unless they really, really want to shake the table. But I don't think they do. I don't think they do. Don't think they do. This is just crazy shit, man. Speaking of which.
So we're sitting here thinking, oh no, the great Steph Curry. We've seen him on the biggest stage for the final time. And look, I'm a sentimental at heart. I want to see Steph Curry get one more run at this, and Jay Will knows exactly how he can do it.
All I'm going to say is I hear a lot of stories about what Milwaukee needs back as relates to trade value. But for Giannis. But there is a world in which Giannis says, I want to be a part of this team. Make it happen. That reality could be applicable to Steph and Curry in these two gravities that they have that can play off each other and be extremely complementary. There is a world in which Butler, I'm not sure exactly how they do it, but where Giannis says, I want to be in Golden State and I want to play alongside Steph Curry because our games work properly together in the Western Conference?
Yes, there is a package that the Warriors could use. They have some future draft picks. They have interesting young players. Like last year, Brandon Pajemski was off limits. Who knows if that's going to be the case this year? But they can't win a bidding war. First off, I just want to say, Giannis has not let it be known. He certainly wants out of Milwaukee. So I do not think we should assume that. If we do reach that point where Giannis was want to look around, he will have agency in this. He has 2 years left on his contract. The Bucks don't have to listen to him. But if he were to come to Milwaukee and say, I want to play with Steph, there could be a deal worked.
I love when people say that no one has to listen to Giannis. What the fuck you mean? Of course they do. When have you seen a star in this situation and they haven't had to listen to him? They 100% have to listen to him. The fuck are we saying? They got to listen to him. They got to listen to him. Hell are we saying? They have no choice. No, it depends on what Giannis wants. Giannis is going to do what Giannis is going to do. So you put him in the right spot, man. But unless y'all want Jimmy, there's no world in which Jimmy Butler and Giannis is on the same team. Not on this team. So it's either we're going to shake the table and get Giannis and offer young players and a shitload of draft picks, but outside of that, now he's going to be here, man. He's going to be here. I seen somebody say something earlier about Andrew Wiggins. Is Andrew Wiggins going to be here? Can we trade back for Andrew Wiggins? What's the viability to trading back for Andrew Wiggins? Forget the back issue. Forget the.
I mean,
the
you'd have to send Moody, Pods, right? I mean, what he's making 28 million. So
Moody,
I mean, you could.
Moody and Pods, get it done. Shit.
Yeah, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Get it done, because guess what? He guards and he can play make and he can score. Get it done. That's exactly who we would want. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, let's ask this question. If we had Draymond, Jimmy, and Wiggins out there, do we have a remote chance to steal a game than what we had out there?
100%.
It's not a talent issue.
100%. Yeah.
Bro, it's not say JK wasn't on the team, right? And you had Jimmy, Wiggins, and Draymond, right? Does that get you one game? Because all we needed was one game. I would love to get Wiggs back, despite what the idiots on the timeline say. Because people just love to troll, and it's about us. I understand it, but you know, when you hear about wanting a player back that can defend and play make, a defending playmaking wing, that's Andrew Wiggins.
Irk, it's funny because I think we needed the move to, like I said earlier, to get Jimmy, because I don't think we either would have missed the play-in or we would have been a 10th or 9th seed with Wiggins if we didn't make any moves. So you had to get Jimmy to improve the team, right? Yeah. But now it's almost kind of like with the roster we have now, you kind of almost want to trade for Wiggins back because he does make the team better again. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you had to trade him away to get better. But now you need to trade. Now you need to get him back to get better. That makes sense.
And this is why I hated those conversations, bro, because people were making it seem like the reason why we were bad was because of Andrew Wiggins, and I was like, no, he's not. I was like, when he's gone, you're gonna miss him, and here we are. And I seen other people do this on the timeline as well. They're talking about Andrew Wiggins, bro. Andrew Wiggins is a fucking asset. He always was, despite of what people said. The only reason why Andrew Wiggins got slack is because they don't like the Jamaicans, bro. That's the fucking reason why. They don't like the Jamaicans. That's why. That's why Andrew Wiggins got slack. Because the Jamaicans are loud and boisterous. You know what I'm saying? So that's why Wiggins got slack. That's why Wiggins got slack.
We need some players, man, because I don't want to build a playoff team. I need a championship team.
Can we get Wiggins back? Because Wiggins is a championship piece.
Yeah, but probably trade deadline. But what are we gonna do in the meantime, like, bro? Be honest with you, man. Jimmy's making 55 mil. Like I love Jimmy. I think he's a good player, but I don't think the two-way that people expected. I don't think he's that. And if I had my way, I would add some ancillary pieces. But our best path to a championship team is using Jimmy's contract and getting Giannis. But if we ain't doing that, I don't see how we get better.
Don't let Andrew Wiggins go to Los Angeles, bro. I beg. Don't fucking let that happen. Don't let that happen. Let's not be silly. You really want that?
Do you think Steph, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins is enough to win a championship?
Who?
Steph, Wiggins, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green.
100%. 100%.
Hmm.
100%. Steph, Jimmy, Wiggins, and Draymond, 100% we win the title. 100% we win. Because you see how we were getting blown by, right? So we had a number one defense, right? We had a number one defense um after the Butler trade, okay? Before the Butler trade, before all the nonsense, in our good stretch, we had like a number two defense. OKC was out there, but we had like a number two, number three defense during that span, right? If you combine the two, we are probably even a better defense because the big thing with our defense, regardless of what anyone says, is that we were getting killed. And in this series, and even in the last one, dribble penetration murdered us, bro. It grabbed us by the throat. So if you put Wiggs out there and then you have Jimmy and Draymond on the back line and then you have Steph running around, yeah, bro, it's over. Wiggs still shoots 38, 39% from three.
And what if we added, like, is Brooke Lopez a free agent?
Brooke Lopez a free
Yeah,
agent. Yeah, he is.
it's a very high possibility.
So we have a good chance to get Lopez. I mean, I guess if you do, you have to, right?
So, I mean, could you? I mean, there's not a. I mean, what's the spacing with that? I mean, Wiggins can space a little bit. Lopez can space a little bit. So, I mean, an ideal
Guys,
starting. Okay, someone says that's great spacing. So,
guys,
Ray's like another old. Yeah, I mean, he is old. I mean, he's what,
look at the Eastern
38,
Conference, man. Look at the
38
Eastern
something.
Conference, man. Everybody that's left in the playoffs has teams full of wings, man.
You need wings out there. You need them wings. You need them wings out there. I don't care what nobody says. You need them wings.
In the playoffs has teams full of wings. I don't
Yeah.
know what. This is what I was telling everybody at the beginning of the season, bro. Everybody who's left in the playoffs has teams full of wings, man. Look at the Knicks. Their fucking wing stop, bro. OG, McCall, fucking all wings, bro. Miles Miles Bride, like it's just a team full of wings, bro. Minnesota, same thing. Boston, same thing. They don't have Tatum, and they still won the other day. Why? Because they have a Derek White, they have a Drew Holiday, they have wings, bro. We can't just run around with no wings, bro. Like this is crazy. Jimmy's over there playing the four, bro. Like he's not even defending on the perimeter. Like he's a cone. To be honest, his if he was healthy, I believe we would have seen a better outing. But right now, he's susceptible to getting hurt. Who knows how many games he plays in a regular season? We need wings, bro.
The Warriors aren't prepared to let Jonathan Kuminga walk in free agency for nothing. Sources told Clutch Points. A sign and trade continues to look increasingly likely, as reported at the start of May, right? So if a team is going to get hard capped and they send us, I don't know, a $15-20 million player, what does a $15-20 million player look like? Throw that caveat in there as well. What does a $15 to $20 million player looks like that that um that fits Steve Kerr? It should fucking fire him, bro. What does that look like?
Bro, everybody's just gonna list off names that they love, bro. It's Steve Kerr, man. Like this is fucking so crazy, bro. This guy's gotta change. Maybe Pop has to sit down and talk to him or something, bro. Because what this guy's thinking and doing isn't fucking working, bro.
Wow. This is wild.
Like fuck, bro. I'm just fucking annoyed, bro. I can't believe we're out of the playoffs, bro. It's fucking crazy, bro. We did all that fucking shit and we fucking to get bounced in the second round, bro. We had to fucking crawl through the fucking play and stay same fucking way. And then to fucking go 7 with fucking Houston. Then to get fucking our ass beat by fucking Julius Randle, bro. Fucking diabolical, bro.
Disgusting.
This is
Absolutely.
disgusting shit, bro. Like, I don't care, bro. Like, I'm giving Jimmy a bly because he was hurt, he was sick, but this is crazy, bro. Julius Randle shouldn't be nowhere in Jimmy's fucking stratosphere. And he was 10 times better than Jimmy in this series. And Jimmy's about to make 55 million. We paid him 2 years, 110. That in itself, that contract's crazy. DHB, DHP, tell me how. If Kerr wasn't our coach, I would be screaming up and down. We're back. We're back. But Kerr's our coach, bro. We might go get a good free agent, and Kerr might not play him.
Not, not
Wings are so important, man. People don't fucking know it's Wingstop, bro. Lemon pepper, dry rub, wings, bro. Honey garlic on the side. Dip it in and wings on wings on wings, bro. We need Wingstop, bro. It's fucking crazy, bro. As a grown ass man, I shouldn't even feel like this about sports, bro. I feel like shit fucking we lost, bro. I can't even believe this shit, bro.
I don't know how we're gonna fill the gaps in. What do you say?
I don't know how fuck. How do we build a championship team, bro? Like, there's no possible way we fucking did all this to be a fucking playoff second round. Dude, that shit's not good enough, bro.
No, bro.
Fuck.
Not with
It's
Steph.
not good enough, bro.
Not with
Not
Steph.
when you have fucking Steph, bro. I was just looking at Steph's face on the sidelines and I was just so sick.
Yeah, bro.
Why are these goofs all fucking doing these fucking scenarios about like didn't I give everybody these names 7 months ago, bro?
You did. You 100% did.
And I'm trying to remain optimistic, so I'm just thinking of curve type players that we could still win with. But fuck, once Brooke Lopez comes on our team, like we have a team full of senior citizens, bro. Draymond, Steph, Brooke Lopez, Jimmy. All of them 35 plus. Fucking crazy, bro. Brooke Lopez is 37, but that's where we're headed, bro. We don't have no wiggle room, bro. Steph is making 60, Jimmy's making 55. Where's the wiggle room, guys? I'm just being real, bro. Like, where's the wiggle room? And on top of it,
I
like,
mean,
we need
Shadow,
youth, bro. Like, I'm gonna be honest, we need kids,
Shadow,
bro. Like, we need to find our way into the draft.
we have 54 million with Jimmy, and we have 25, 26 million with Draymond, and we have 11 million with Moody. What is that? It's like $100 million right there to try to get younger. I know Moody's young, but he's not. He doesn't have a
I
place on
know,
this
man, but
team.
remember, we can't think about good, great players. We got to think about players that are good that fit within Steve Kerr's offense. And moving Draymond is Steve Kerr's darling. It's not happening, bro. Kev, and you know me, I'm the most optimistic guy in our entire fan base, bro. The delusion that's in my mind, there's nobody on the planet that's more delusional than me, bro. And that's a Warriors fan. And I'm telling you, bro, I know Steve Kerr. I've seen enough. I've been in the denial for 10 years. I can't do it no more, bro. He's not, even if we got Cam Johnson is playing 20 minutes, bro. And he's asking if he can come off the bench. Because he's not a connector like Pods. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what Steve Kerr's
No,
gonna tell us.
I get it. I get it. We went over
Let,
the
let, let, let's
scenario. I
just be
mean,
real, bro. Let's just be real. This is serious shit now, bro.
he
Like
has problems.
we
He has
we have
problems with
we
Kaminga
have
rebounding.
we have
Shadow. He has
36 months,
problems
bro.
with Kaminga rebounding, but then he tells Potts to shoot every shot next year. So I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
Bro,
but pause rebounds.
we have 36 months of Steph Curry greatness. 36 months, bro. How are we going to do it when Jimmy makes 102 million, 110 million over the next 2 seasons? Draymond Green refuses to come off the bench. We have no other defenders that's going to help Draymond when Draymond's on the court. Our guy who can get us buckets only wants to wake up in the playoffs and can't play a lick of fucking defense on the perimeter. That shit was belt to ass, bro. I never in my life thought I would feel sad like I did when LeBron James in the playing game looked at Clay and waved him off and walked away from him and let him shoot, and Clay clanked it. I was so fucking SLD money gang bang bang, bro. Sad, lonely, and depressed. But when I saw they 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 taking turns on Jimmy like he's a battery thing from the fucking hood, they were gang banging that guy, bro. It was like a battery thing. It was
Yeah,
crazy, bro.
but Shadow, I understand that, but there's no way we would have gone from a 10 or 11 seed to a 7 seed without
No,
adding a
I
healthy. But
understand that. I
we wouldn't
understand
even
that.
have been in the playoffs, bro. Like, let's be
I
honest.
I
Like,
I understand that, right? But what the fuck is the difference between the play in and fucking one round, bro? Because we didn't come for the second round. We didn't do nothing. We played one game. The Steph played 13 minutes, and we got it done. Outside of that, bro, we threw in the towel. And we and a team that everybody was calling garbage in Houston, they took us to 7, bro. This is crazy, man. With Steph Curry, bro. Do you know how good that man is? Bro, I'm watching Halliburton give niggas the surprise. Splash. You thought you won? Splash. You thought you won? Splash. And packing up the Cavs, bro. With Miles Turner, we all laugh at. Look at that roster in comparison to our roster, bro. It's not even close at the top end. And they're getting it done, bro. Because you know why? Their coach gives them a chance. You let your pride get in the way of a kid who can give you 30 in damn near 26 minutes, 27 minutes? Like he says shit like, oh, we need spacing on the floor. That's why Kuminga couldn't start. Then you start TJD, who's never hit a 3-point shot in a game. Come on, man. This is diabolical, bro.
Honestly, so is it that just Kerr just feels like you can't run an efficient offense through JK, and then also he doesn't do the little things. He's not a little things guy type of
No,
player.
Steve, it's not even about JK the name. It's the concept of JK. Steve, like, okay, there's a difference between a home and a group home. Like, you could be at home getting in trouble and your mom still love you, bro. But in the group home, they're there for the check, and you're gonna do it their way, and they'll never love you. Jonathan Kuminga is a foster kid, bro. Not him as the person, but that archetype of player is a foster kid, bro. Anthony Lamb is a Kerr type player. Ty Jerome is a Steve Kerr type player. Brandon Podzinski is a Steve Kerr type player. He sat up there on that presser and said, "We need a defending, playmaking perimeter guy."
Isn't that like a Andre Iguodala type player?
Yes,
Yes, which
bro.
is
Yes, bro.
Steve Kerr
Those
type
are
guy,
diamond
and
in the
that has
rough
But
nothing to
ass
do with
niggas, though.
spacing.
This is
So
why I'm frustrated.
all
Those are
the
diamond in the
excuses,
rough niggas.
but I think
that he said about spacing, he doesn't
uh,
even want to address it. His main
and
priority is a perimeter guy who can play make.
you know what he wants, bro? You know who would be perfect for him? Like a Nick Batum. Nick Batum, that nigga, he would love a guy like that. Those type of role players.
I'm gonna be honest. He would love a guy like that over any young fucking kid who can give you 25 points.
But we
But I
need
don't think I
dudes,
don't think the
man. We need
JK thing is I don't think
dudes.
the JK thing is just Steve Kerr though. I think Steph is
Yeah, I
has
don't
a
think so
part in it
neither.
too though.
Yeah, I never thought it was just a Steve Kerr thing, but still, we need to adapt, bro.
No,
Stop
no,
being
no, no, no.
stubborn.
It's not. It's not. It like no. It's that. It's
Come on,
not
bro. If
that.
Steph if Steph said, "Yo, we need to play this kid,"
No,
Steve
but
would
that's
play
how
him, bro.
Steph's not. Steph, bro, that's the reason why Kaminga even got to play in that series because Steph finally put his foot down. So that's here nor there. Steph is going to rock with Steve Kerr first. He's not going to really go against him. But when he went down, he said Kaminga gotta play, and then Steve Kerr went in. And think that's why the day before I came in and I told everybody that it's going to be Kaminga's time. But I'm telling you, Steph is not against it. But I'm going to tell you the truth. We need a lot of defenders on our team. We need to put Draymond Green on the bench, and I feel Draymond Green's going to be more productive and it's going to be better with the second unit because
He needs to be in the Andre Iguodala role now. To be
yes,
honest,
he needs to just come off the bench, bro,
play like 20 to 23 minutes a game, bro.
and close.
And then
A-
play and close in the playoffs, like literally.
and that's it. But the problem is now, right?
You need a wing player.
We're gonna
You
have a
think we could
starting
get Wiggs?
lineup
You think
with
we could
no
get Wiggs back?
defense.
You think we could get Wiggs back?
Holy
If
fuck!
Miami
Why does
wants
everybody
JK,
keep asking me the same thing, bro?
no, because bro, I seen a report saying Miami's still interested in JK. If they were to do a sign and trade,
No,
like
they love JK.
why
They
would they
love
want to keep
JK,
Wicks? They
but
might
the
as well get
problem
younger,
is
right?
yeah, they want to put him together because Spo believes that them together would be the most dynamic wing combo. But I got my own ideas. I'm not gonna fight it no more.
Is it a
I'm just
possibility though they can get Wicks?
yeah, it's a definite possibility. But
Bro, I would do that, bro. That's the
I'm
move.
saying is I'm not gonna go to there because if I put my vested interest in that, then I'll be just disappointed if it doesn't happen. So I'm just gonna look for Steve Kerr guys. Even though he's a grandfather, I believe that Brooke Lopez is a Steve Kerr guy.
Oh, Brooklyn, I think we're gonna get Brooklyn Lopez like 100%.
Okay. I believe Nikhil Walker Alexander is a Steve Kerr guy.
But
He's
we
looking
don't have enough money though for him though.
I know, but we don't know how much his market is gonna say. Right now he makes 4 million. He's gonna re-up on a new deal. If I was to guess, I think his deal is gonna be 4 years, 60 million, $15 million a year. We gotta make room, bro. For a kid like Nikhil, he's not like he's gonna give you 25 points a game, but he's not going to give up 25 points a game like
He's
our
gonna
guys are
guard. He's
currently
gonna
doing.
guard.
He's going to fucking guard and he can play make. And he has positional size. He's 6'6", long arms, and can defend. He was playing like absolute dog shit this playoffs, except for on the defensive end.
But
And that's
I
why he
think he
was
was
always on the
playing
court.
bad because of his minutes though. His minutes were like inconsistent. He was not really playing a
Yeah. But
lot.
he was still, the times he was out there, he was making stops. So this is
Nah,
what
he
I'm
would be
saying. Like,
perfect. He would be perfect for our team.
but that's what I'm saying. So I want everybody to wrap their head around guys that are Steve Kerr guys that can think. Like Cam Johnson is a great player. He could shoot. He could think. Steve Kerr would say, "Are you interested in coming off the bench, young man?" Like I'm telling you, bro. And
But
he's
he's a
gonna play
Steve Kerr. He's
pods
a
over
Steve Kerr
him.
guy though. Nah, he's Cam Johnson's Steve Kerr guy though.
No, he's not. He did.
He
Steve
is,
Kerr
bro.
doesn't
Trust
think
me.
he. I'm telling you, we had 2 chances to get Cam Johnson, and Steve Kerr says he has to learn how to play make. I'm telling you, bro. He told that to Draymond, Wiggins, and thing, bro. I know once what Steve Kerr's on right now. That's why I just gave up, bro. I was
Yo,
threw up my hands.
how do you think about Kobe White?
I love Kobe White, but he's not going to be a starter
Yeah, that's the only issue.
because if you look Kobe White and then you look at Pods is more of a Steve Kerr guy. So we need to we need to fix these two positions. We need to fix. Let's look at our real lineup. Okay, Moses Moody played terrible up until the last game, right? But before all that, he was starting and Pods was starting. We need to replace those two guys, and I think
Oh,
Draymond goes on the
100%.
bench. And if we do that, we're we're good
The
because
issue with Draymond go to the bench
Jimmy
though, it's
can't
hard to get a
defend,
power
so
forward.
he needs guys to play perimeter. I'm accepting Jimmy's gonna be a four. Jimmy's gonna
I
play,
don't know, bro.
be the four. He's not going on a perimeter to guard nobody,
The thing
brother. I
with
was getting
Jimmy,
sad, bro.
he's not gonna at this point
They
in his
were
career,
taking
he's
turns
not.
on him, man.
No,
I
it's not
don't.
even that. I just don't think at this point in his career he doesn't want to guard the best player. Like you could ask him to do it like a couple minutes, but he's not gonna do it the whole game or even
Why the
close.
fuck we paid this guy 2 years, 110 million, bro? Come on, bro. We paid this guy 110 at this point, and this is me being real. Just go all in for Giannis and trade Jimmy to Milwaukee and send Pods. He's a hometown hero, bro.
Oh, that's a possibility. That's definitely on the board.
Send Jimmy Pods.
If
Let's get
Giannis wants to come
Giannis
here though,
and
that's the
keep it
only way.
fucking moving, bro.
If Giannis wants to come here, that's the only way though.
I'm going to training camp and put on my Jordan 11 Concords like I used to play with in high school, bro. You could play with me, bro, and Irk could play the power forward, bro, and we're still winning, bro. So at the end of the day, we need help, bro. We need help. We need positional size. We need guys who are
Aaron
go to.
Neesmith for Indiana.
See, these are the guys I bring in, but people over there keying and laughing, bro. And
No,
Aaron
no, no, no.
Neesmith is
Because he
helping
can
these
guard. He
guys
can guard the
go
best
to the
player every
Eastern
night,
Conference Finals. Are
and he
you hearing me?
guards. He
Are you
guards
hearing me,
for
bro? I
No,
said
I've been saying I said
Aaron
Neesmith
Neesmith
for a while.
all season, and people were laughing and keying and making jokes. Now, Aaron Neesmith led his team with Halliburton and led his team to the Eastern Conference fucking finals.
The reason why Neesmith would be possible too is because the Pacers need to pay Miles Turner. They can't keep all those guys, so they're gonna have to trade with somebody like Nemhard or Neesmith. One of those guys that'll have to get traded. Small market team, they're not going over the tax.
I don't know, because we can't get Giannis any other way. So I don't know.
Bro,
We have to.
If Giannis says, "Yo, I want to go to the Warriors," they're
No, but
gonna
it's
do it.
that's not that. It's not only that. We have to figure out the sign and trade for Kaminga, and over players, we need to get draft picks to use on Giannis, and then we can then we're Gucci. So if we can, because remember the Nets have fucking 455 picks, bro.
Yeah, that's true. But
If
Boston,
we
Boston,
could if we could
would you take
finagle
Drew
two
Holiday?
picks, if we could finagle 2 picks for Kaminga and use them with Giannis and Jimmy and one of our own picks and something else, I think that deal can get done. But I'm not gonna too get vested into it because Steve Kerr at one point, and I quote, he would make a great dive big. And can you imagine the screens he'd be setting? Come on, man. We're getting Giannis and you're
How
worrying
about
about
Drew
screens,
Holiday?
bro.
How about Drew Holiday? Even at this age,
I know, but the money, man. The money.
now you could get him though. I think if you do a 3-team deal with the Nets, send Cam Johnson to Boston, they get some shooting. Coming into the Nets, Drew Holiday to the Warriors. Because Drew Holiday can still guard. Like I don't think he's probably diminished as an offensive player, but he's still top 5 perimeter defender in the NBA easily. These guys keep saying another 35-year-old. Bro, we have a 1-2 year window. Why you guys keep worrying about age? Our best player is about to be 38 years old.
Can we get Giannis?
Yeah, I believe. Well, if we make Jimmy available, yeah.
Because Giannis is, you know,
But the issue is if you get Giannis, how you build the team? Like you're just gonna be stuck. Like unless if you can like Mike Dunleavy pulls a magic trick out of his hat.
I'm going to the fucking G League and finding hungry dogs, bro. I'm cool, bro.
Breezo, if we got Stephen
Yeah.
Giannis,
Steph and Giannis, come on,
Nah,
man.
bro, Stephen Giannis, bro. Of course I would take
Breezo,
that.
That's
Nobody's gonna say
diabolical,
no to
man.
that. Nobody's gonna say no to
Breezo,
that.
I'm gonna be
Right?
dead ass honest with you, right? Like
Yeah.
Stephen Giannis, and then them other dudes that we have on the roster. If we just fill them up with just dudes, I'm telling you, it's the same shit that we're dealing with right now in terms of the outside, the ancillary guys. It's the same shit. It's literally
Yeah.
the same shit. So, I mean, look at the guys that we have on the bench, bro. Like anyone on the bench, is that anyone? Is there anyone on the bench that you just want to hold on to? I don't know that there is.
There's nobody, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
There's nobody to hold on to this whole team except 2 players, maybe 1.5, but that's about it.
That's what I'm saying, bro. It's like, so I don't know. I don't know what we're holding on to. I
No,
would probably.
they'll definitely be in the mix. If Giannis says, "Yo, like this is one of my teams I want to go to," these niggas are definitely gonna try to get him. But it's just more
Yeah,
so when you get him, like, cause bro, now the NBA, like, it's not about like if you have 2 great like dominant players, okay, but like, what do you have around them, bro? You need depth. If you don't have depth, bro, you're not winning. Like in the NBA, look at all the teams that are left. Everybody's deep except the Knicks. Every other team is
that's
like,
what I'm
yo, they
saying.
have 8, 7, 8, 9 rotation players. OKC plays fucking 10 guys. And like, it's no problem with them.
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of
Like,
a no win.
bro, if you went down all the playoff rosters right now and you take Steph and like Jimmy out of our team, would any of the rest of our players crack anybody's rotation left in the playoffs? I don't think anybody. Buddy? Nah, Buddy wouldn't even play, bro. I don't know what team Buddy would play on.
To be
But
honest, the only bench player I think that could stay because he's barely making any money, and at least he tries when he goes on that court is Gee. That's the only guy I'll keep, bro.
Guy Santos?
Yeah, because at least when he goes on the court, he fucking tries, bro.
Yeah,
He
he
doesn't care.
competes.
We could break down 30. Like those kind of guys have a positive attitude. He's not crying about no minutes. He's not he's not sitting at the end of the bench sulking, doing none of that bullshit, bro.
He's just happy to be out of Brazil.
Yeah, he's just happy to be there, bro. And I feel we as us as a team, I think the last 3 years we lost like the culture of what it meant to be a warrior. Like people's like everything's self-serving for people and nobody's just like happy to be a Golden State Warrior and be part of the family. And like when I watch OKC, as corny as the shit looks with Shea and all those guys, but they look like a family, bro. That's why they're so good, bro. They do everything together. They they do post game interviews together. As someone makes a play and the guy ain't playing, he's up there clapping. Alex Caruso thinks he's black now. Like shit is crazy, bro, over there, bro. I'm telling you, bro. And that's what a team's about, bro. We don't have that, bro. We just get a bunch of mix and match guys and put it in our team and it
I
is
think
and
I
it
think
is
I think they're close to. I think they're on the right track. I would say one thing that they're on the right track of getting back there, but I don't know, bro. Plus minus spot said they're trying to bring Colin Sexton. Nah, I don't know. That's not a Steve Kerr guy.
we need to get Steve Kerr guys, bro.
It's not a Steve Kerr. Colin Sexton would be in the doghouse multiple games.
doesn't this guy
He'd do Colin Sexton worse than Kaminga, bro. Come
Bro,
on,
if
bro.
they think Kaminga's looking off Steph, wait till you see Colin Sexton basketball. Nigga might take 5 shots in a row. Steve Kerr said, "Yo, he's trying to get Wiggs back." Is this true?
I can't even believe this shit, bro. Shit's crazy, man.
Plus minus pod said Steve Kerr would love Wiggs to be back, but difficult due to CBA rules.
what's the CBA
No,
rule?
it's just Wiggs would have to wait till the trade deadline. That's all.
Oh,
February.
he can't be traded again till then.
Yeah,
It's a time
that's all.
span thing, right?
It's a time span thing. Bro,
Okay,
I talked
so
to the man this morning, man. Like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about that, man.
okay,
Fucking 3 hours ago, I spoke to him. Like, at length. So let's just keep it moving with that, man. Put me on the Giannis train, though, man. That's my number one right now.
Somebody said Keon George in Utah. Bro, man, these guys they don't even watch the team. What the fuck is Keontae George gonna do on the Warriors, bro?
hey, just look at it this way, Brizo. Somebody that can dribble and get their buckets, self uh, self-serving players that can get their own buckets. Those are not Steve Kerr guys, bro.
They're not. The only way Steve Kerr will like you if you're those type of guy, you have to be like uberly efficient doing it. Like KD, like those type of guys. Like if you're not at that level, he's not letting you rock out. Like and even KD, he would try to get KD to move the ball here and there. Like, but if he's telling KD move the ball, what the fuck do you think he's gonna tell Colin Sexton? Like what? Colin Sexton, he would be at the end of the bench.
KD hated that man, bro. He hated
KD.
that man. Y'all don't even realize.
Nah, he did. He did. Yeah, there was
Y'all
times
don't
where
even
Steve would
realize
be
KD
right.
hated that man, dog.
Steve would be right in certain situations, but sometimes it's like, bro, fourth quarter, we don't need Draymond and Iguodala dribbling the ball at the top of the key for no reason. Like, there's no reason to do that.
Come on, chat. Give me life, man. I'm down bad, bro.
Luke Kennard, oh my god, bro, these niggas, bro. The only reason Luke Kennard leads the league in threes is because he doesn't even attempt a lot. Like nigga pump fakes every open three.
BB Steph, I like that one. He's one of my favorite ones. I think his potential is so high, but nobody's tapped his potential. I think Quentin Grimes is a Jordan Poole.
Yeah, but he's gonna pay. He's gonna get paid a lot though. I think Philly's gonna
I
give
know,
him the
but
bag.
I think Philly squandered his value. I think Philly squandered his value, bro. Would you rather Pods or Quentin Grimes?
Oh my god, Quentin Grimes is 10 times better
Okay,
than
man.
Pods.
So let's guys get me out of this gutter,
Bro,
bro.
I wanted I
I'm
wanted Grimes. I
I'm
wanted
down in the
Grimes when he was
dumps,
back in
bro. Like this
Dallas.
is crazy, bro.
When he's back in Dallas, I said let's go get Grimes. He's only making like $4 million. Bro, Pods is a backup guard. This nigga is not no starter. He's not no get up 8 to 10 threes like Steve Kerr is saying. He's not that type of player.
Yo, let's trade Kuminga to Philly, bro. Let's get that number 3 pick and take Ace Bailey, bro. Bro, fucking Ace Bailey's 10 times better than Moody Pods
Oh, he
combined
is,
with
but
their grandmother and grandfather together, bro.
Steve Kerr, we're not like Ace Bailey, bro.
Is he a Steve Kerr guy?
No, he's not. He's
No, he's too good. He's too good. He's too good, athletic. He does it all, bro. He's gonna be a better Lamar Odom, bro. Trust me.
A better Lamar Odom might be a Steve Kerr guy.
I know, but Steve, the kid might smack Steve Kerr, bro. Kaminga took a lot, bro. Like the average young kid is not taking that buffoonery that Steve Kerr was doing to people, bro.
Oh, Odom would be a perfect Steve Kerr player. Watch, we're just gonna end up with Kelly Olynyk and call it a summer. I can already picture Kelly Olynyk, Draymond front court minutes.
Don't say that.
Game. Bro, I know this team too well, bro.
Oh my God! Don't say that.
They're gonna
Where's our
gaslight us.
pick? Did we
Everybody's
lose
gonna
our
do
first
Russian
round pick?
roulette the whole summer. We're gonna be trying to look for every player possible. Watch Kelly Olynyk trade end of August.
Don't say that. Kelly Olynyk. Are you fucking shitting me, bro?
They should get Melton back though. For the minimum.
Melton back on a minimum. Jesus Christ. Can you imagine? Kevin Durant back on the minimum. Let me hear what this dude is saying. Hold on.
Number one, let me give respect where respect is necessary to be given. Kevin Durant is a top 15 basketball player of all time. So let's make that abundantly clear that Kevin Durant is one of the greatest to have ever laced up sneakers and graced a basketball court ever. But here is where I would suggest several things were wrong and several things are conflated. Number one, I do think individuals who did not play the sport have an ability to articulate their thoughts on a sport if they give it the necessary respect that it deserves. I believe that, not just football talking about basketball, not just basketball talking about football. I think far too often we make the mistake of the appeal to authority fallacy. And what that very simply put is that we have to believe that someone is an expert on something just because they said so. If your rich neighbor tells you to invest in a stock and you ask them why, well, because I'm rich, duh, when they do not give you any supporting evidence. Now, the claim that I am making in regards to the Boston Celtics that I do not want to be conflated is very, very, very simple. I believe that Jaylen Brown plays a tougher brand of basketball than Jason Tatum. I do not think that the Celtics are a better team without Jason Tatum than they are with Jason Tatum. I believe that they match up better against the New York Knicks with Jaylen Brown as a leader than with Jason Tatum as a leader because Jaylen Brown plays a tougher brand of basketball than Jason Tatum. Not to say that he is a better player, but he plays a tougher brand of basketball. Those that have watched the Knicks series, of which I have, you can understand that the difference between the Celtics and the Knicks is not talent. The difference between the Celtics and the Knicks is toughness. And a leader of a basketball team encourages the rest of the players on the basketball team to follow them. Now, I do not think it is a coincidence that Kevin Durant is the one who drew issue with my statement because Kevin Durant has always objected to being a leader. This is not my opinion. Look at Kevin Durant's words. In November of 2017, again, viewers at home, I always do my homework. That's what you have to do when you're a backup professional athlete. Kevin Durant said in a GQ article in 2017 when he joined the Golden State Warriors, I don't want to have to be a leader. I'm not a leader. I'm bad at saying, stand behind me and follow me. See, I would suggest that Kevin Durant, he objects to the notion that the team reflects the demeanor of the best player. Because if Kevin Durant were to accept the reality that a team often reflects the demeanor of the best player, then he would have to honor that truth by his actions. Kevin Durant, one of the best players in the history of the game of basketball, like I have stated several times throughout the course of this take. But you do have to remember that Kevin Durant won a championship with the Golden State Warriors, not by coincidence, but because that team already had leaders at play in Draymond Green, in Steph Curry, in Klay Thompson. When Kevin Durant has had to lead a team, not just by his actions, but when he has had to lead a team by his words, when he has had to galvanize a team to a championship like with the Phoenix Suns, you saw they came up short. I don't even think that they made the playoffs this year. I do not think it is a coincidence that Kevin Durant objects to my take, because Kevin Durant isn't objecting to Emmanuel Acho's take. Kevin Durant is objecting to the truth that a team reflects the demeanor of the best player. And Kevin Durant, you have often been the best player. But when the team reflects your demeanor as the best player, where has that team gotten to? But when you get to join a super team like the Golden State Warriors, obviously you win championships and you become a multiple-time finals MVP, of which no one can take away. So in conclusion, I do not think that you have to have played a sport to speak on a sport. I just believe you have to have done your homework on that sport. In conclusion, I think we always have to be mindful of the appeal to authority fallacy. Somebody can't just say, hey, believe me because I'm an expert. Are they actually doing their research? And ultimately, in conclusion, teams reflect the demeanor of the leader, of the best player. So how are you leading your team?
Why do these guys always get these football guys talking about basketball all of a sudden? It was bound to happen. It was bound to happen. That type of beef was bound to happen. Oh boy. Several names are already appearing as possible free agent and trade targets for the Warriors this offseason. Brook Lopez, Kristaps Porzingis, Karis LeVert, Bruce Brown. Karis LeVert is not a Steve Kerr guy. I'm sorry. Maybe Brook Lopez. Bruce Brown might be. What's Bruce Brown's price tag? What's his price tag? He's a free agent. How much cap space are we going to have to sign him? You think we can use the MLE? We got the non-tax paying MLE, right? Okay. He might be a candidate for the MLE.
Can we use that money to sign Nikhil instead, bro?
So you're going to give Nikhil how much money?
15.
15? 4 years?
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe. That might be a possibility. Interesting. The Nets, Bulls, Heat. Heat are among the teams with preliminary interest in Jonathan Kuminga. Can you imagine? Can you imagine people saying that? Want to make a muse? What's going on? What you got for me? Where you going? All right. Titty Gibbs, what's going on? As Brandon would say. Man calls him Titty Gibbs. So we can't get Wiggs back until January, right? He'll be more than, well, we don't know what his market is going to be, Brandon, for Nikhil. I would love to have Nikhil. Some contender going to trade for Wiggs. We got, bro. Ugh, shit, man.
Urkel, that thing that I sent in the space game chat, can somebody tell me why it wouldn't work or what parts of it would work?
Yo, my goat, what's going on, bro?
Not much, bro.
Yo, Eric, what's good? How's everybody doing?
What's good?
Yo, Ray's been saying this in the chat, and this is the kind of timing I'm on. I'm done with specialists, man.
Yeah.
No more. You can do one thing, man. Not for me at least. We got four. We have four first.
Before you start, right?
Yeah.
How long have I been saying that to play on this team, you need to do minimum two things?
DPS. Dribble, pass, shoot. You got to give me two of those three.
Bro, I've been saying two of the three for years.
For years, yeah.
For years I've been saying that. I'm like,
that.
bro, like you cannot. And I said, if you're doing three of them, you're an all-star. You know what I'm saying?
Wait. Hold on. The chat is telling me. See, this is why collaboration is good. Because remember when I came in here and I said we only have one tradable first if what I'm looking at is correct? Well, I was not correct. We have how many tradable first round picks? Oh, bro, anything over two is money. Anything over two is like you're cooking with gas. Because remember, we have to it's not like you're just trading picks. Like you retain a good number of those first. Bro, you have 3 or 4 tradable first round picks. So I'm guessing it's what, 28, 30, and 2032, I'm guessing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my Lord. I'm back, bro. The Fanspo getting booted up, bro. I'm back. 26, 28, 26?
Yeah, we have our 26.
26. All right, I'm gonna hey, Ray. No more specialists, man.
I'm done with that. Yeah, you're right, bro. No more specialists.
No more. All right, bro. I'm with Ray on that one, man, for real. Man.
No more specialists. I am done.
I didn't even my goat, did you put a trade in that in the GC? I'm looking at it right now, bro. Damn. All right. I'm trying to be like you for real. 4 teams, 12 players. My boy cooking.
A 4-teamer. So here's what he got.
Hell yeah. Hey, listen. Hey, where's my goat at, bro? Kobe White and Herbert Jones. That you had me at Kobe White and Herbert Jones, fam. I'm with you.
I think I think it's very realistic targets. Maybe not Herb, but I think everybody else can get. We can get, bro.
Well, I think Herb's super gettable. Like, again, we have the pick. We have the picks. I think we have the talent to be able to do that. Do they swap out JK for Herbert Jones? I'm not sure, but from a value standpoint, it makes some sense. And then the Kobe White thing's funny to me because he'd easily be the best guard on the team. So you send Moody. Yeah, I've been wanting to send Moody in a first over there for Kobe White and them for a while now. And then, you sign. I don't think Walker. I don't think you can do Walker, not just because he is going to make more than 14, but is he a UFA or restricted? I can't remember. I can't remember if he's restricted or not. But Steven Adams, I know, is a UFA. Precious is a UFA. And obviously Jackson would get converted if he hasn't already. I I think the picks make sense. Pelicans might ask for another first, but you only have 2 firsts going out in this trade.
I'm
I don't, I
hoping
don't,
that
I don't hate it, brother.
I'm hoping that for Herb, right? They see the first and they say, you know what, Kuminga's talented enough. They'll eat the contract and then they'll take the first.
Yeah. You know what I would do? I would break this up into individual transactions.
Yeah, no. That's mostly the idea. It's not gonna be one
Yeah,
big
no.
trade.
I mean, you've seen what I've done before. Is like just to kind of save time, you just kind of put it all on one screen. But yo, you should put these on the TL for real. I like this, bro.
I don't think I can zoom in anymore.
Yeah, bro. I hate that it doesn't. Twitter, fucking is bugging when you try to zoom in.
Yeah, I can't zoom in anymore.
Yeah.
But this fanspo is in the Space Gang GC. So if I don't have you in the Space Gang GC, just let me know.
Yeah, no, this is. You know what's funny about these is people will go, "Oh my god, a 4-teamer," and it's like it's not really. It's like 3 different trades, bro. It's 3 different trades. Because look, it's Justin for Trace, right? The Wizards. It's Moody in a first for Kobe White, and it's Guy Santos, JK the first for Herb. That's literally it's just 3 different trades on one screen. That's really all it is, and then the free agent signings.
Drop your Twitter in the chat right here, and I'll just add it real quick.
Giannis to the Raptors. I mean, they're not a good team, but that'd be kind of lit. I'm not gonna. I mean, I wouldn't hate it. The wing depth of Zion, Trey, JK would be nasty. Yeah, I mean, the wing depth of Zion, Trey, and Herb would have been nasty had he not get hurt. That's why that was so disappointing because I wanted to see how that should have played out. Oh, hey,
As you said,
also,
Lindell too. All these can be done like separately. So the
yeah.
Kobe White one on its own, and I only did the Wizards one because I was like, I'd rather have a wing over TJD.
Yeah.
Because I think what Irk said earlier was he wants one big to do everything. Steven Adams does what TJD does, but way better. So there's
Yeah.
no point in having him. You know?
Yeah.
You have the versatile guy in Draymond. You have the standard big in thing, and then you have the space and big in post. So
Yeah. He's like a super loony, I think, more than a TJD. And I do wonder about our center depth because we now have 2 young centers with Loon. And depending on how much time Draymond puts in at center, I wonder if one of those centers is gonna go. Because say Loon comes back on like a minimum, which I would not mind. Can't be more than that, but I wouldn't mind Loon back on the minimum just because he's just a dude in the locker room. I like to think of Trace Jackson Davis as like a 2nd round pick, maybe a little bit less.
Would you bring back GP2 on a minimum?
On a minimum, yeah.
Yeah.
He can't, bro.
Also,
Bro, his cap hit was $9 million this year, bro. Like, I can't have that, and not the MLE either, bro. It's minimum or free agent. That's it.
Also, just to add that, yeah, we could bring back these guys on minimums, and it fill out the roster. So I think when Afro was finished, it was like 12 guys in all, and we need 15 for the playoffs. So bring back GP2 Looney on minimums, and then I don't know. I was looking at Pressure 2 or 2, just in case, but yeah, basically.
One thing when you're using the trade machine, whether it be on Spot Track or Fansville, be aware of before you say try trade, be aware of how much room under the taxed first and second aprons there are, because that does dictate what we can and can't do as far as like trades and stuff like that. Because there is a resource. I'm not sure if Mike's going to tap into it. We'll see, depending on like order of operations. But we have an $8.8 million trade exception. And so if you combine an $8.8 million trade exception with Moody, that's a $20 million player. That is also something significant to think about going into the offseason as well. We've got way more flexibility than even last year, even though we had more expiring contracts, we have more flexibility for like signing and like trading and shit. You don't think we can combine exceptional with player? We literally did it. We did it already this past offseason. I thought the same thing, Bancy, but we did it this past offseason, if I recall correctly. Yeah. If not, I think we're still good because 8.8 is you could attach a couple second round picks to that and get a player back. But yeah, no, we're in an interesting spot, man. We're in a real interesting spot.
And I'll be honest, bro. I think if we get majority of these guys, like we don't need to get everybody, but if we get majority of these people, I think is a chip. There's people on the court that if Steph is not here, that they don't look like chickens with their hair cut off, but they also fall into the Steve Kerr system seamlessly. They don't do extra, right?
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
No interest anymore for Zion. I maintain interest in Zion. I just don't think
It's happening.
yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like that to me is a dream because I think his weakest attribute is probably I don't even know if his weakest attribute is defending fours. Yeah, his defending fours, and even then, like with the lineup that he'd be on the court with, I'm not moved by that because the trade-off that you get from a playmaking standpoint, the ability to get in transition, being doubled on the offensive end, right? I think that makes up for the defensive side because I don't think he's a bad defender. I think he's neutral. I do not think he's a bad defender. I think he's neutral, and I think he looks way better on a team that has some more wing defense. And the reason why we didn't see that with the Pelicans consistently, some niggas were hurt. For Draymond would have to be moved. I don't know because I keep hearing that Draymond is just the center for the foreseeable future. Zion is a fat JK. I got bad news for you, bro.
No, he's not. How do I tell you that in a limited amount of time
that's
Zion
gotta
has
be a
played,
troll. That's gotta be a troll for real.
in a limited amount of time that Zion has played, he's probably been one of the best people at attacking the rim. Do you know what Zion would look like on Steph Gravity, bro?
Yeah,
he'd look like a top 5 player.
So here's the crazy part. Here's the crazy part. Zion generates gravity on his own.
Yeah.
So
Lindell, hold on. Bruh. Hold that thought right there. Right?
Yeah.
You see what you're saying right there about generating gravity by himself?
Yeah.
Right? That is the dude that I wanted. Somebody that does that by himself and not off of this not off of the shit that Steph did, right?
Yeah.
At the deadline, I was pushing for Zion because what you said right there, right?
Yeah, bro.
What you said right there, and so many people did the gotcha thing, like, oh, Jimmy Butler, this, that, and the other, and I stayed quiet and I didn't say anything, right?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be honest with you, I was right. Do you know why I was right? Because I said, give me somebody that is not a Steph Merchant.
Yeah.
And I had a problem paying Jimmy Butler that type of money, but I rock with it. You know what I'm saying? But end of the day, you know when I realized that this motherfucker was a Steph Merchant? The Atlanta and the Miami game. And I needed somebody that I'm going to pay that kind of money, right? Don't get me wrong. I don't mind Jimmy Butler. We made the run and all of that shit, right? But that was Steph Merchant-ness. You know what I'm saying? I needed somebody that I would pay that type of money.
Yeah.
It wasn't a Steph Merchant. And I don't think Zion is a Steph Merchant. And that's all that I was asking for.
Yeah.
But end of the day, where Jimmy is right now in the point of his career, he's Andre Iguodala. You know what Andre Iguodala is? A Steph Merchant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Golden State would have to change their offense for Zion. Kerr will never do that. I gotta be honest. If the Golden State Warriors are bringing anybody in that is going to do what we're describing, And you're gonna have the same problem. By the way, Brandon, again with the short memory shit, your argument for Zion was Draymond, not that he would be a bad fit. So you gotta keep track of the shit that you say. I think that he would operate at a very high level with Zion plays motion. I got a question for you. Does Draymond play motion? Because the answer is no. He holds the ball while everybody else moves. That's what he does. Also asking, and I think these are valid questions, but we're asking like we're kind of adjacent to the issue here. We're talking about somebody who above for the players that are making over 30, under 50. He's probably got the highest impact of anybody on that list. I would love to take a look at that list. It's just a hunch, and here's why. Anybody who draws doubles but also play makes at a high level. Yeah, Ali. That's what I'm saying. Anybody who draws doubles and can pass at a high level, welcome. Welcome. Because this dude is all right. Let me ask this, just hypothetical question. Who do you think is drawing a double first? Steph Curry or Zion?
Steph.
Yeah. Zion single covered under the basket. Y'all tell me if you had a chance to watch a Pelicans game, how that ends. How does that end? 9 times out of 10. A Zion dunk, bro. Yes. So you got a choice to make because conventional wisdom would tell you, yeah, B, bodies. Conventional wisdom would tell you, clog the paint. You had better fucking not clog the paint while Steph Curry is on the floor. Even worse, you better hope to God Steve Wood isn't having Zion come up and set screens for Steph. Then what the fuck you gonna do? What are you going to do if Steve Kerr has Zion setting screens for Steph Curry?
You see that slip action where GP2 kind of like he barely sets the screen and he goes, bro. Imagine that shit was Zion.
He'd be putting people in the basket every other play.
I see the by the way, people are saying that Zion is coming good. Zion averages 5 assists a game.
That's my goal. Those are troll. That's a troll comment, bro.
Like Zion is a great
but I
passer.
just don't think the Zion thing's gonna happen. I think that's where we're at. I think that's where we're at. I'd be surprised. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you gotta watch Zion to understand. And the defensive thing too, I do think. Here's why I'm not going to be a stickler about defense with Zion in particular. One, he's not nearly as bad as people say. Two, how's Draymond on fours this year? Yeah. So I just, if we're going to improve the team from a wing defense standpoint, then I don't think we should be that big of a stickler on Zion playing defense at the 4. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just kind of how I feel. Bro. Yeah, nobody said he was playing the 5. Thanks, bro. That's fine. It's good. It's cool. I appreciate you tagging me this time, though. That was kind of you.
Bro, we got did I play this already?
Senior NBA insider Shams Charania joining us now with much more. Shams, what options do the Warriors have here this summer to retool this roster for another run next season with Steph and Draymond?
Kevin, the Golden State Warriors have up to 4 future first-round picks they can trade. They have tradable contracts, pick swaps as well. Sources told me in the last few hours the Warriors will be incredibly aggressive in the marketplace to go find help to continue to retool around their big 3 of Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler. I'm told their priority is finding a playmaking wing defender or a center to add to this group. And a lot of it will come down to someone that Steve Kerr and the big 3 feel like will help this team and fits their culture and their identity. But one key player to keep an eye on this roster right now is forward Jonathan Kuminga. I'm told he's going to have a strong sign and trade market coming up. He's an exciting young wing player. Both sides are expected to have conversations commencing over the next several weeks ahead of free agency to see, is there a potential sign and trade landing spot that gives him a lucrative deal while also potentially bringing the Warriors some additional help for their roster. So both sides end up as winners in this.
Kuminga has had an up-and-down relationship with Steve Kerr, but he gave him some credit here and why he's gotten better. Golden State has not been to the conference finals since winning their last title back in 2022. Sean.
Oh, why the fuck do we give Steve so much say, dog? The shit is
brother.
The shit is fucking mad.
I'm drained. I'm drained, bro. I'm drained. I just threw it in, and I'm just accepting the fact that anybody we get has to be a Steve Kerr guy.
But shout out, bro,
and a Draymond guy, by the way.
4 after Steph picks, 2 after Steph picks that are gonna be like high value. Jimmy, Kuminga, can't get Giannis, bro. Please, Giannis, you want to play with Steph. You want to play with Steph so bad.
They're gonna try to go for it, but knowing Kerr, man,
but he wants to play with, bro. He was at that party for Warrior fans, bro. He wants to be here.
I don't know, man.
The only problem with being a Steve Kerr guy is being a Steve Kerr guy likely means you don't bring anything without Steph Curry, bro. You bring nothing without Steph, bro. Like, you just, bro. Like, why do we want more players that if Steph's not playing look like they did for the bulk of that series? Why?
Lindell, I'm glad you said it.
Bro, why do we want more of those dudes, bro? Like, fuck. I'm not counting on Steph being out in games, but weren't we complaining about being able to generate offense in non-Steph minutes?
Lindell, stop, man. Relax.
No, man.
Relax, man.
Bro.
Relax, man.
Bro, isn't that what we were doing?
Relax,
like, even if you weren't in here banging the table for a second option, wasn't our biggest complaint the ability to generate offense in the
when Steph doesn't play or he's not on the court?
And we're talking about Steve Kerr fits, bro. Playmaking wing is actually just so funny. Go talk because that's supposed to be Jimmy Butler. And now if we want another one, that's cool. But like, and this is why it's funny. Playmaking wing implies
that can defend.
That's correct. Implies it's also somebody who can defend.
That says Jimmy doesn't defend. But
you know who the playmaking wing that can defend, bro? Like, who it's
play this one, guys. Listen up. Volume up.
Oh no, not Monica, bro. Here we go.
Volume up, man.
So before I play this, let me set this one up. So, all right, you know what? I'll just play it.
From this standpoint alone, last year they were in 10th. They didn't make the playoffs. This year they started off in 10th when they got Jimmy. They made the playoffs. I would say it worked out from that perspective. But what I'm going to say about Jimmy is, as great as Jimmy is, the playoff Jimmy thing has put Jimmy Butler in a conversation with guys that maybe are a little bit above Jimmy Butler. And sometimes the expectations of Jimmy Butler are the playoff Jimmy Butler expectations all the time. And that might not necessarily be who Jimmy Butler is. Jimmy Butler is a very talented basketball player, but he'll tell you, I'm not the most talented. I'm not the fastest. He is a smart guy. He preys on weaknesses and mistakes. We got to give credit where credit's due to Minnesota. McDaniels was on him. Ant-Man was on him. Randall was on him. He's not a shooter. He needs to get in the paint. When you get in the paint, we have the #1 shot blocker and rim protector on him. I think Jimmy Butler gave what he gave, but Jimmy Butler didn't have any more to give against that team. And that's where you see the differences between other guys and Jimmy. Because I've seen guys guard LeBron, and no matter what you do, he gets his. I've seen guys guard D-Wade. No matter what you do, he gets his. Jason Tatum, he gets his. Jaylen Brown, he gets his. Those guys get theirs no matter what you do. Jimmy Butler's not that unstoppable guy like those guys.
Okay, I hear you, but now backtrack me. What was your expectation once this trade happened? Because did it live up to the...
I was on the other side of the trade, so you want to hear what my expectation was?
Tell me.
I wouldn't give a damn what he did over there. I was worried about the side of the trade that we got.
Okay, fair enough.
Hey, man, that nigga Heat nigga through and through.
Look at him cheesing, bro.
He's a Heat nigga through and through, bro.
Look at him, bro. Look at him cheesing, bro. Yo.
If there's one thing that nigga is, bro, he's a Miami soldier. Wherever they tell him to say whatever he is, that's what he's gonna be, bro.
Hold on. So I know that he's a Miami soldier because they they paid him for, I don't know, years after, to be
He
like a
wasn't
lot.
even playing. He wasn't even playing.
He dead ass just had free tickets to
They
games.
paid him for years, $2 million a year,
It was crazy, bro.
$2.5 million for years to be like a player coach. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first thing. So nowhere, this man is like Miami Heat through and through. Now, is Dwayne Wade Miami Heat through and through?
Up for debate. In ways, I would say. In ways.
I don't know that Dwayne Wade is a Miami Heat. Like,
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade is a Miami Heat, Wade County and all of that, but Wade did like the post. But also understand something. These dudes are competitive as well. A lot of people were saying that Jimmy Butler is ahead of Dwayne Wade because he went to the couple of finals all of those years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. So people are putting Jimmy Butler ahead of Wade. You know what I'm saying? Like that was actually happening. So these dudes are kind of petty that way.
Yeah.
Right. So
gross. That's gross, bro.
So I want people to understand what's going on here. That's the first thing. Now, the second thing is, this is why I wasn't over the moon over the trade. Because, all right, if we get Jimmy Butler, right, do we get better? I think that's a resounding yes. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If we had gotten, but you saw where the shit fell apart, right? The shit fell apart when you got him and Steph Curry was out. Bro, we just needed one game. You know what I'm saying? So that game against Atlanta, the game against Miami, that's when I saw it, bro. I was like, yeah, we're in the same spot.
Mm-hmm.
Because all we did was just get a guy that made the Steph shit better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because that's all we did. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got a guy. So the way that I see it is that we are in a cycle. You know, like how they talk about the Buddy Hield cycle? We're in a cycle.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we run the system, everything is great, all of that stuff. Steph slips on a wet spot, right? And then they decide that Steph can't do it by himself, so they go and they get KD, right? They go and they get KD, things are great. Steph gets hurt, they don't look so great. Marriage breaks up, all of that shit, right? And then we go through the cycle again. We get this guy, right? And then we get like the Steph Curry guy. We needed to get somebody that can create outside of the Steph Curry shit, but not interrupt the Steph Curry shit or the Steve Kerr shit. Jimmy Butler was perfect for the Steph Curry shit. And here's another thing too. You know, when I say if he dies, he dies, they were doing that the entire fucking time. The entire time. They were doing the Draymond shit.
Urkel, can I interest you in the playmaking defensive wing?
This is why I was the KD shit so much. You know what I'm saying? So, but the problem is that KD is kind of a pain in the ass. You know what I'm saying? So I settled off by saying that Jimmy Butler is not a pain in the ass, right? But at the end of it, if Steph goes out, what the fuck can we expect? You know? And you can't ask for everything, bro. You can ask for everything, but you ain't gonna get everything. So when I looked at, I think we just got to settle off at, we just got hurt, bro. And there's nothing that we could have done. We did need one game, dog. We did need one game. And I'm going to be honest with you. Remember when we went on that Eastern Conference trip and everybody was up here saying, I think we can get this game without Steph. Jimmy, this, right? And I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking about the logistics of the team. I'm thinking about, what I just watched, and I was like, I don't think they're going to win these two games, bro. They lost those two games, and everybody was confident. And you see, after I watched the Atlanta game and I saw the dynamics of the team, I'm like, we better pray to God that Steph don't get hurt again. And lo and behold, he gets hurt again. Lo and behold, he gets hurt again. And, Jimmy Butler is great for the Steph Curry shit. But, outside of the Steph Curry shit on this team, not great. Not great, because Steve Kerr doesn't create spacing the traditional way. Steve Kerr creates spacing off of Steph Curry running around. How many superstars do you know that are going to run off ball? Name one outside of Steph. A superstar. Name one.
I don't think there's anybody that you could describe as a superstar. I think Book.
Maybe you can say Clay.
Yeah, you could maybe say Book, but Book's been on ball a lot more recently.
I don't want to play off ball, bro.
I do think that he'd be willing. But like none of the superstars are off ball players, bro.
Maybe you can say Book. Book's a pretty good off ball player.
That's what I mean.
So Book and KD 100% have those skills, right? But do they want to? Absolutely.
We know KD does not prefer it. There's nothing against him. He just doesn't prefer it, bro.
KD don't want to do that shit, bro.
No, he's just.
But KD will let you know. He will let you know. One time, KD sent me a video, right? Because I was talking shit and saying that off ball and all of that shit. This man sent me a whole montage of him playing off ball. Like, gotcha. Hilarious.
Just consider New England and Belichick and Brady, the Warriors, Steph and Steve Kerr. They built a very high intellect, sophisticated offense, both Kerr and Curry and Draymond. It's very sophisticated. Young people struggle. And for years, everybody always said, well, why can't they draft a wide receiver? Well, most of it was Belichick wasn't a good drafter. Some of it was Tom didn't want to babysit him. And so what you have the benefit of.
This is actually a really, really good analogy, because remember when Chad Ochocinco went to New England and the shit just didn't work? It's actually a really good comparison.
Of the brilliance of Belichick and the brilliance of Steve Kerr. You have the benefit of Brady and Steph. But these are so high functioning, almost academic offenses. They don't play with kids well. New England didn't. That's why New England got old and slow really fast. Brady went young down in Tampa. And that's why when you watch OKC and you watch Indiana and you watch these young teams, Houston, and then you watch Golden State, some of it is on this offense that just doesn't play well with others under the age of 23 years old. That's what New England became. So I just think they're just getting a year older. I think all these Houstons, Indianas, maybe some degree New York still got some youth. Cleveland, I think those teams are getting better. I think the Warriors are getting older.
That is actually a pretty good analogy. It's a really good analogy, actually. Really, really good analogy.
Unless it's for a top tier big man. How are we defining a top tier big man? Who do they think AR is, bro?
You're not gonna trade Austin Reeves unless
you know what? A top tier big man?
Unless
that's so funny, actually.
Fuck out of here.
Jarrett, you talking about Jarrett Allen? Because that's about as good as you're gonna get for AR, bro.
Here we go.
Draymond, you said that you were going to follow Steph and Jimmy to a championship. Looking at the postseason landscape right now, if Steph had been healthy, do you still think that you guys could have done that?
I wholeheartedly believe Steph was healthy. We could have done that, but I once won a championship where Kyrie Irving got hurt in the NBA Finals and Kevin Love got hurt in the NBA Finals. Do I think we still would have won if they didn't get hurt? I do believe so, but we'll never know. That's just the nature of the sport that we play. If it was healthy, we could.
Do you still think that you guys could have done that?
I had to back that up just to listen to.
I was
You
gonna
had to
ask.
what? Whoa! You
I
had
was
to.
gonna ask if you had seen this. I was gonna ask if you had seen this because this is like, you're
Hold
the
on.
Clutch Sports affiliate. Hey, movie gives.
Hold on. Let me back this up. Hold on, because I heard that wrong.
No, you did not.
Draymond, you said that you were going to follow Steph and Jimmy to a championship. Looking at the postseason landscape right now, if Steph had been healthy, do you still think that you guys could have done that?
I wholeheartedly believe Steph was healthy. We could have done that, but I once won a championship where Kyrie Irving got hurt in the NBA Finals and Kevin Love got hurt in the NBA Finals. Do I think we still would have won if they didn't get hurt? I do believe so, but we'll never know. That's just the nature of the sport that we play. Injuries are a part of it, and they're unfortunate. So you can't take the good and be like, oh, man, we won a championship, and it don't matter that somebody was hurt. On the flip side, can't sit here and be like, we would have won had Steph not got hurt. No, you've been on the other side of that. So respect it when it don't go your way. You know, one thing I hate is a front runner.
What?
You know,
What is he even talking about?
Oh man, we won our championships because we were that good, which we were. But Kyrie Irving got hurt. Kevin Love got hurt. Robert Williams got hurt. That is the nature of the sport we play. So unfortunately this time, luck wasn't on our side and Steph Curry got hurt. But we've dealt with it before. Kevin Durant got hurt. Klay Thompson got hurt, you know? So you start to take a peek. It happens every year somewhere. It may not be here, it may be another team. But when it ain't on your side, you can't be the guys that go up there and be like, man, we would have won if. Yeah, in a perfect world, probably, but the world ain't perfect. It's far from it. And so
This nigga just
take
yapping,
the good
bro.
with the bad. The Minnesota Timberwolves ended our season.
Yo.
They beat us regardless of who we had on the floor. We were a playoff team, and they moving on. That's just, it sucks for Steph that he wasn't able to be out there because you work so hard for those moments to be in that situation. And so I feel for him. But under no circumstance will I be like, oh, man, they lucky Steph. Nah, they won. And move on. We try to get better this offseason and try to do it again next year.
All
You know
he
who that
had to
was,
say,
Eric? You know who that
all he
was?
had to say was,
No, that was podcast Draymond. That's podcast Draymond.
yo, all he had to say.
Yeah, that's podcast Draymond.
I think our chances would have been better with Steph. That's literally all he had to say. That's all this nigga had to, bro. Hey, I know Erg is pissed off, bro. I already know.
Bro.
Yo, get this nigga off the team. Hey, Samuel, get this nigga off the fucking team.
You know he's cost us conservatively 2 championships, right?
Hey, yo.
He's itching to go to Yorkville in August. He's itching to go to Carabana. That's what he really wants to do,
Oh my God.
with his boyfriend.
And you know, Santa Rosa, you know what makes me mad about this clip? It isn't the oh, Draymond's just being honest about the Warrior. No, that's not the shit. No. The thing that bothers me is nobody ever talks about who was injured in nobody's fucking playoff run unless it's the Warriors. Nobody talks about injuries.
I agree.
Again, I know the Draymond quote is like, finally, somebody's being honest. Okay, cool. Let's talk about the ones where the Warriors weren't involved. You want to talk about those? Of course you don't. Of course you don't. Nobody talks about the Nuggets championship. Nobody sits around and talks about the Bucks championship. Nobody sits around and talks about those. They talk about these. So let's keep it. If we're gonna be really honest, let's keep it a buck. The only ones you cared about are the ones where this nigga you see on the screen was involved. The one where Steph was involved. That's the only ones y'all care about.
This is crazy, man.
I feel like he's just trying to deflect, you know? I think he knows a lot of it is on him, but he's just trying to deflect.
That's a
Deflect from
fact.
what? Deflect
Hmm?
from what?
From all
Deflect.
the bullshit that he does.
That's just he just podcast Draymond, bro. What he just
Urkel,
did up there was his entire podcast.
Urkel, this man had to get up in front of his team for 2 straight series and apologize for not showing up. How does
Listen, let me tell you something.
how does that work?
Here's how you can gauge the response, right? Look at King, look at MAGA Matt, look at Samuel, look at all the Laker fans in here, or not even the damn Laker fans, but the clutch people, right? And look at the type of shit that they say.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the type of shit that they say. That's how you really, really gauge it, man. Look at
Well, how come we're not dissecting the Nuggets championship?
You know what I'm saying?
How come we're not dissecting like the Bucks? We're not dissecting those because it ain't about whether or not Draymond is telling the truth. It's about whether or not people actually are willing to tell the whole truth. The only reason we like niggas who are not Warriors fans who hate Steph and hate the Warriors and hate us, the only reason y'all care about this is because it justifies an incomplete argument. That's the only reason y'all care. Nobody's talking about any of that other. No, bro, I've never even heard somebody have a conversation about the Giannis chip, bro. Let alone who was hurt during that run.
Let me tell you how they have a conversation about the Giannis thing. They have a conversation about the Giannis thing from this standpoint. And hear me out on this. They have a conversation about the Giannis thing because Kyrie got hurt and James Harden got hurt and KD's toe was on the line. But do you know why they have a conversation about the Giannis shit? So they can say that KD was the best player on the team, right? So all the rings are his, right? So they can have that conversation, right? That's how they can have those conversations, right? But the fact of the matter is, when you zoom out, KD never made a conference finals outside of the Warriors, after the Warriors. KD didn't do shit. KD had stars next to him. And it did not work out. And you can talk about injuries and all of this shit. The fact of the matter is, he ain't get it done. Just like how, at the end of the day, Steph ain't get it done this year. Simple.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But his toe was on the line and this, that, right? So let me zoom out again some more, right? James Harden hurt his hamstring that year, right? Everybody said if KD's toe wasn't on the line, they would have won. No, James Harden had a hamstring injury. Going into the finals, they wouldn't have won. The correct team won, believe it or not.
You think so?
100%. Milwaukee deserved to win. Because you know what would have happened? Milwaukee, say KD hit that shot, right? Milwaukee would have just gone to the next round and lost. Or they would have went to the finals and lost. By some chance they get by Atlanta. They would have lost anyway.
Oh, you meant the Nets. Like if they
Yeah.
yeah.
Nets would have lost, right? So I think the correct team won anyway. Y'all think Giannis is a top 2 guy in the league, right? He's a top 2 guy in the league. He won.
Yeah, Nets without Harden is not going to be Phoenix. AJ Sims is right.
Windhorst is saying we're not going to win a bidding war, but the Warriors have the draft capital to get involved with Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I think we got 2 options, right? We got 2 options. Go get Giannis, okay? Or accept the fact that we're going to make marginal moves.
You mean Draymond moves? I agree.
That's pretty much what it is, right? So it's either...
So Draymond's going to be gone? from
No,
that
no,
package?
no. I mean, can you play in an offense that has Draymond as a trigger man? If you can't,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's it. That's those only moves we make.
So Jimmy would be gone,
In the
and
Giannis,
possibly JK. Yeah.
Yeah, build around Draymond. That's what we've been doing.
fucking stupid.
African Kobe. I love that name, by the way. That shit's funny.
Stupid. Build around
Hey,
Draymond.
54.1 on the dot. Talk to him. We're building around Draymond. We're not building around Steph, bro. Steph can play in any offense, man. We know this. We're building around Draymond because he has to be the trigger man. And no, we're not putting $26 million on the bench. We'd love that, but you just can't build a roster with $26 million on the bench. You need $30 million as you need a $30 million player starting. You cannot have a $30 million player coming off the bench, bro. Because you want to know what the alternative. You know what Draymond on the bench means? It means a guy who's getting paid what Moses Moody or Buddy Hield is getting paid is starting in his place. That's what that means, and that's just not gonna cut it. That's just not gonna cut it.
Shit's diabolical, man.
Yeah, build around Kuminga and let him shot chuck, bro. Build around Kuminga or let him shot chuck, or build around Draymond and watch him turn over the ball in an offense he's been running for 10 years. Which would you rather?
In an offense that you literally can't turn the ball over.
Yeah. Tell you what, build around Kuminga or build around Draymond and let him turn over the ball in an offense he's been running and dictating the roster construction for the last 10 years.
Hey, Lindell, let me ask you a question, right? And follow me where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
Because I just thought of this. Our offense this year was a 115. League average was a +1, right? Okay.
All right.
So we have a +1 offense. All right. Last time I checked, we were with Jimmy Butler, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were a +5 offense with Jimmy Butler, right? So after the deadline, we were a +5 offense, meaning we were +5 relative to league average during that time. Correct?
Yeah.
All right. A part of the reason why that happened is because we turned the ball over less. Okay? Now, if I were to do some rough math based on the turnovers and all of that stuff, and I were to guesstimate and all of that stuff, Draymond Green, conservatively, based on the way that he turns the ball over, he costs us 2 points.
I'll just say 2 points, yeah.
2 points on offense.
Yeah.
Based on the bullshit that he does.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, we can look at it from the standpoint that they have a 111 offense this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they are 3 points better than league, right? So, anytime he's on the floor, they're a top 10 defense, right? That's cool, right?
Yeah.
So when he gives you, right? When he gives you the +3 on defense, he costs you 2 points on offense.
Yeah.
And they have literally, like you said, they've built their offense around him.
Yep.
Right? So you see the trade-off that you're doing? So you're gaining 3 points on defense, but you're losing 2 on offense.
You know it's crazy? This actually proves what we've been talking about for a long time. And so the question we've been asking this year, and probably last year too, was does the defense justify the drop-off in offense? And so you have to understand when me personally, when I say drop-off, I don't mean the inability to score the ball. I mean he's turning over the ball.
So here's where I'm going with
generating possessions for the other team, right?
Here's where I'm going with this further, Lindell. Here's a point that I was making, right? You see, to start the season, when we were cooking and we were off to a great start, and me and Shadow was up here talking crazy, and the offense was cool, the defense was cool, right? And then they went back to the Draymond offense because Draymond was bitching about the offense and all of that shit. And he was in the corner. Let me put it this way. He probably is better for the offense in the corner. Because you know what he's not doing when he's on the ball? He ain't fucking turning over the ball.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. You can turn the ball over, right? You can turn the ball over when you are creating plays and you're putting pressure on the rim and all of that stuff. You know when you can't turn the ball over? When you're not doing those things.
Standing there, bro.
And you're standing there.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
Lindell, let me say it again, right? Our offense was a +5 after. And a function, because I was looking at all of these stats, and a function of our offense during that time was the fact that we weren't turning the ball over. You understand what I'm saying? We weren't turning the ball over. And I was looking at the numbers and I was looking at how they correlate and all of that, right? And I created, I'm not going to share this chart with you, but because I'm still working on it, right? But it's kind of like a regression model, basically, right? And I was looking at how all the variables correlated, and I was just watching the games. And based on watching the games, and I think this is how people should watch basketball, they should watch the games, think about the stats, correlate the stats back to what you think they mean, and try to find relationships within those stats, right? And that's exactly what I was doing. So, for instance, if you don't turn the ball over in this offense, how much better does it make you? And that's keeping the shooting and all of that stuff consistent, because I did all of that, right? Just by not turning the ball over, we were much better on offense.
Yeah.
And that is with the lack of shooting. That is with the lack of rim pressure, pods, Moody, and all of that shit, right? That's how crazy the Steph Curry shit is. You know what I'm saying? And Draymond Green was better off in the corner. To start the year off, we were a much better offense with that motherfucker up there. You see when he started to get back into the mix and put his sticky fingers on the offense and touching shit?
Yeah.
That's when the offense went to shit. And the defense was terrible. And it fell off of a cliff. And he was in and out of the lineup, in and out of the lineup. He is our biggest curse and not such a blessing these days. That's what the problem is.
Yeah. The blessing has been falling off consistently. That's the problem, because I've never had an issue with Draymond being a zero until the defensive side started falling off. It's, to me, like, if you're gonna be a Steph merchant, cool. You can't be a Steph merchant and then not deliver on the defensive end, as what many will say is the most important defensive player on the team. You can't just not deliver on defense. And so what's hilarious to me is we'll go, oh man, like look at the numbers. No, watch the games. I understand defensive rating, and I get it. We're watching these matchups and we're going, Draymond sold there. Draymond was late there. He's getting bullied there over and over and over again. And you see it increase in the playoffs. There's not a number you could send me, bro. Like, what number are you gonna? What?
Why would Justin block me? Oh no!
You know why that nigga. You know why that nigga blocked you. You better cut it out.
We make too many concessions for Draymond for not enough production.
Yeah, and it's been consistently going that way for the last 3 seasons, in that direction. I'm pretty sure he blocked me too. Hold on.
Oh, Justin, you're not a loss. Believe me. I don't like you either.
Shit, bro. That was.
I don't like you either. You're a dickhead.
My timeline been more peaceful ever since. Black Ice, he blocked you too. Holy shit. My boy, the Black Tim Kawakami. That's crazy, bro.
Pretty similar, and it's the numbers.
Oh yeah, I'm big block, bro.
Okay, so all on regular season. Steph, Jimmy on. Steph, Dre on, Jimmy off. Regular season. Jimmy, Steph on, Draymond off. -22. Wow.
Wait. Steph. Okay, Jimmy Dre on -14. Steph Jimmy on Dre off -22. Steph Dre on Jimmy off plus 9.2 on. You know what's crazy? I love. I think the 3-man is fine. I think when you watch games, you know what I'd be really curious about? Who are the 2 people, or who are the 3 people on the floor with each one of these lineups? That's what I'd be curious by too.
I don't like the 2-man lineup.
I don't, because I want to see the whole lineup when that third player is not on. So like, give me Jimmy Dre, and then whatever the other 3 guys are with no Steph. Give me Steph Jimmy with Dre off, and who the other 3 guys are. That's bro, come bucket. That's a great example. That's yeah. But I guess this kind of shows you something. Like, I don't know. Because again, if you look at this number and you're like, okay, cool, that proves it. But then you're watching games every other night, bro. You're watching games and you're going, man, wow. Like, what is the number until you're watching a game that has 5 guys on the court, and GP2's getting shot over, right? All right, cool. Houston series, bro. Was Draymond Green good in the Houston series?
He was good defensively most of the part.
He was good in game 4 and 7. I'm gonna just let that speak for itself. Was he good in game 5 or 6? Like, you know the ones that, depending on the outcome, 7 might not even happen, bruh.
Yeah, like I said though, the production is just not there anymore.
I refuse to give credit to a player who performs in a game 7 who didn't perform in games that would have prevented a game 7. Does that make sense? Like that. I'm glad he showed up when in game 7. I would have been happier if he didn't have to go up in front of his team and apologize for not showing up. In the Houston series, by the way. Like,
so in a 7-game series, say it goes all 7 games, does Draymond give you what, maybe 2-3 games tops where he's playing good?
Yes. And I repeatedly keep getting told that that's enough. And I repeatedly keep getting told that we're supposed to give Draymond a roster where he's only allowed to show up for 2 games out of a 7-game series. That just, we would never expect that of Steph Curry. We would never expect that of Steph Curry. Hey, we need to put a roster around Steph Curry where if Steph Curry shows up for 2 games, we can win it. That would never, ever, ever be the expectation. Ever. Ever. Draymond's the only dude we do this with. And I'll be honest, I think a lot of people put Steph Curry and Draymond Green on the same tier. Not just in like all time. I think a lot of people put Steph and Draymond on the same tier of contribution to the championships. And
yeah,
I'll go a step farther. I think a lot of people don't think Steph could be successful without Draymond Green. And that is, I think, one of the worst byproducts of this, like, splash bro core brainwashing shit. That's one of that, to me, that's the worst side effect, is thinking that Draymond Green specifically is the reason why Steph Curry's been as successful.
Lindell,
like there aren't other fucking power forwards out there.
Lindell, give me another wing and a center along with Jimmy Butler, and we're cooking.
Who's the wing though, Eric?
Give me Andrew Wiggins, and give me right? With Jimmy Butler, we win a championship next year. Because the tax that you have to pay, dog, is crazy. It's crazy.
Bro, I don't even mind if Draymond plays center next year. I want to be very, and I must speak for me. I don't mind if Draymond's on this team next year.
Listen,
as a matter of fact, I like it better Irk, I like it better if he says that he's going to be a center. Cool. Then that means you're going to take care of your body. You're coming in shape. You're going to be able to hold up. What I can't have is I can't have us refusing to add talent to the team because you can't be anything other than a trigger man on offense.
Yeah, too many
I
concessions.
cannot have that, bro. I can't.
Too many concessions. For a nigga that's what 35 and shows up barely.
Bro,
barely.
This is why I've said y'all think JK is the problem. It's not JK, bro. It's the fact that JK needs the ball. So bring in anyone who needs the ball to score, or even playmakes. By the way, you know how funny it is that there's reports that we're looking for a playmaking center. Is that center starting?
Who is this playmaking center though that we talking about? Who?
Why in the real hell would we get a starting caliber playmaking center? And I said this about Vooch. If Vooch is on the floor and Steph is on the floor and Kuminga is on the floor or Jimmy's on the floor, who do you think has the ball? You want Vooch on the court off ball? And the only shooter on the floor is Steph? I don't have a problem with him being on the roster. I do think his $26 million makes it tough, but when the push come to shove, okay, I can figure some shit out. But man, we're not gonna add talent to this team. Yeah, Goga, I like that. I like Goga a lot. As a matter of fact, he's gettable with the trade exception. Basically, I think it's like 500K.
From Orlando, right?
Yeah, I think
I like him.
I think he's making 8.8 or 8.3 actually. I think, and then we have an 8.8. So, but bro, you can't. We're not adding talent to this team, like significant talent to this team, and Draymond's gonna be the trigger man all year, bro.
Nah, it's gonna be a bunch of minor moves, bro, and we still gonna play traffic cop.
I hope not. I still have hope that we can deviate from that because we don't have to change the offense. It's just Draymond's role that has to change. We can have the same exact fucking offense. Draymond just got to grow up. He got to do what he was doing at the beginning of the season. I don't think we've made enough noise. Erk's brought this up multiple times, by the way. I don't think we've made enough noise about what he said on the podcast. I do not think we've talked nearly enough about what he said on the podcast and why him and Steph will never win a championship ever again if that's going to if that's going to dictate roster construction. Brandon, I agree. It's why I prefer to just have him gone. You and I agree on this. He can't be on this team if you're looking to add any of these players, bro. Like, if what you believe is true, and that Draymond Green's role will not change, then we're having a different conversation, bro. Him and Steph not gonna win another chip because we will not add a significant enough talent to displace Draymond's role. We won't. Draymond is not a problem. Shogun, I'm gonna be honest with you. In the most respectful way I can possibly say, like, you've been slapped in the face by this dude. Like you've grown okay to justify mid, I think, for the last 2 years. And we're blaming Moody and Pods why Draymond is mid. Like you don't see the problem with that, right? Like do you see the problem with that? Do I want Moody to be better? Yeah, we just paid him. Do I want Pods to be better? Yeah, he's a second year, bro. He's on his rookie fucking contract. I don't care what Steve Kerr says. But our defense of Draymond is Moody and Pods were bad. When Steph, first of all, Steph never not performs. And so we say we need a second option to take pressure off of him. When a dude doesn't perform, you don't say, oh, well, his supporting cast wasn't that good. This ain't like Steph. Steph balls no matter what. This nigga got up in front of his team in 2 series straight and had to apologize for not showing up. He got bitched so bad in the game that can you imagine how relieved he was that fan said what he said in that stadium to him? Oh my God, thank my lucky stars. I can play the race card.
Race card.
Hey, he got bailed out. Thank my lucky stars. I got heckled. By the way, that shit was caught on video. How many times you think Draymond's heard stuff like that? And so it becomes an issue that night. All right.
Race card.
Yeah, Draymond in Minnesota. Bro, I can't. Moody and Pods is the reason why Draymond's not good, bro. Oh man.
Get the MAGA hat.
Oh man.
Don't let me have to get that MAGA hat.
Bro. Bro, Moody and Pods, the reason why Draymond's not good, bro. Oh my God.
You, Draymond, don't let me have to get that MAGA hat.
Monkey. Bro.
Oh, shit.
Bro.
Dude, man.
I
You got
can't,
us in a
man.
chokehold,
It's just
bro. It's fucking crazy, man.
That's so crazy, bro. Shogun, I'll never get over that. Moody and Pods is his teammates, is what we're going with to defend Draymond, bro.
Yeah. You see the nasty shit that people are doing are now doing on the timeline, you know? So now injuries don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Your main guy gets hurt. You know what I'm saying? Not even like a guy that you have to compensate for, but your main guy gets hurt. And now there's a big difference between LeBron getting hurt and Kyrie getting hurt, right? We can all agree there, right?
Yeah.
If Bron gets hurt on those teams, you don't stand a chance. But you know, if he is out there, you still stand somewhat of a chance. But nah, let's ignore that. Oh shit. The Warriors are committed to their core of Steph, Jimmy, and Draymond. No major superstar trade appears to be on the cards. Oh yeah?
That's fine. I'm not upset by that. But they can't run Moses Moody and Buddy Hield as starting shooting guards next year. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
By the way, we've been saying, and this is before Jimmy even got here, I think 2 marginal moves puts them over the top. Problem is, we sent a wing for a wing. That's inefficient. The only position for position I accept is like guards, upgrading guards for guards, and upgrading maybe centers for centers. If you trade a wing for a wing, it's got to be it's got to change, bro. It's got to be enough. And I like Jimmy, and he was there. We clearly improved, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't. So give me 2 marginal moves this year. If you want to get a center, cool. I need another wing. The playmaking wing thing cracks me up because I'm like, what playmaking? Shadow laughed at this earlier. I was like, what defending playmaking wing are we getting in a trade? I'd be happy to have one, but
Andre Iguodala, man.
Hey, let's that don't exist. Yeah, like why? And if that player does exist, that's a $40+ million player. So
Exactly. It makes no come on, bro.
let me get a playmaking defense, bro. You want to know why that player doesn't exist? Because the playmaking defending wing probably also plays a good deal of offense, has like usage on offense, you know, like, or not. When I say usage, playmaking implies that, but like scores a decent bunch. So which non-scoring playmaking defending wing exists?
Draymond Green.
And he damn for sure not defending wings. Like bro, we already have 2 hypothetical of those players on our team. Yeah, Jimmy definitely. I don't think JK is a good enough playmaker yet to put him in that category, but Jimmy theoretically, yeah, he's supposed to be that. JK, we know he can score, and we know he can defend. Playmake, not so much. Oh, Jimmy and Dre? Yeah, but Dre hasn't been able to guard wings in 3 years, bro. 2 years. I don't want to be disrespectful. Everything will be great. We'll just sign and trade JK for Wiggs. You know how funny that would be, bruh? How would that'd be so funny. Wasn't Kyle Anderson playing defense? I recall when he wasn't getting put at center. I don't know. I like our options this offseason. It's like listening to people's justification for certain players. I think is entertaining to me because I kind of I'm one of the many people that keep a mental note of how we talked about which players a year ago, and it's just kind of funny, man. Yeah, EA. Playmaking, non-scoring. Scotty Barnes got a shot. Pods. Hey, I'm listening to offers. I'm listening to offers on everybody, bro, including JK. All of them.
How about Scotty Barnes?
I'd do it.
No.
Yes, Santa Rosa. hey. Now hold on. I gotta give my flowers to Santa Rosa.
Why should we help you when you guys fail to help
No, I
Steph
hold on, Santa
to
Rosa.
make
I
to
gotta
win
give you your
a
flowers.
next game?
Let me tell you something Santa Rosa does not do. She does not go on mute and fucking disappear. She's locked in, bro. She's locked. She's locked in. Hey, what about let's get let us have was Oche?
No.
Oche.
And it's
Yeah, can
Ochai.
we have that nigga? Yeah, Ochai. Can we have Ochai? Pass that nigga over, bro. For real.
No, you guys could have Jakob Pertl.
Ugh. No, hey.
Chris
Listen,
Boucher's available. You guys, he cooked your team.
I ain't trying to hear that. Hey, how about Moses Moody and 2 second-round picks for Ochai? You gotta pay him, don't you? How much y'all gonna pay him for real?
No, we don't have to pay him right now, so it's fine. And we don't want Moody.
I know that.
He should be packing up for China or Turkey.
No, chill. Chill.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The player that they want, that they described, is actually Scotty Barnes.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh. That's why I asked the question. And it's like, all right, so okay.
Let me ask you this. Like, say Barnes didn't go, right? Years ago. Barnes didn't go the spot that he went and he landed to us, and say we drafted him. Would that be a Steve Kerr guy?
You guys can't really even develop people
that
properly.
depends. Santa Rosa, you tell us because you know better than
But
us.
you guys' development team is like not that great. You guys let Jama go, and look what you guys how you guys developed JK, Pods, and Moody. Where are they now? They're not really doing anything other than JK. And even when JK does do something, Steve Kerr takes him out.
I think he's a Steve Kerr guy. Scotty Barnes.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
I think he's a Steve Kerr guy because I remember watching him in his rookie year, and he was doing the Andre Iguodala stuff. So.
But wasn't Pods a Steve Kerr guy and Moody a Steve Kerr guy too? Like, I think she has
what
a
I'm
point
saying.
because wasn't Trace? Matter of fact, Trace, Pods, and Moody I was told they were all Steve Kerr guys. Now they're lower picks. They're not nearly as talented as Scotty
Pods,
Barnes.
Moody, Trace, all of these were Steve Kerr guys, right?
Yeah.
And so Pods, Moody, Trace. Pods, Moody, Trace. Who else? Pods, Moody, Trace are Steve Kerr guys.
Why would I want to do JK and 3 first for Barnes when JK can barely play make? Yeah, and Barnes does basically what JK does, but better.
Yep.
And could guard.
Well, Lindell, hear me out on this, right?
That's accurate. That's wrong.
Okay.
No, I'm not mean. I'm just being real. I watch your team a lot, so I know.
Yeah, that's I don't even think that's insulting, to be honest with you. I think that's
Pods, Moody, and Trace, right? So Pods, Moody, and Trace are all Steve Kerr guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we are complaining about guys we're complaining about guys and guys that do one thing, right?
Eric, we're complaining about guys that are performing better than those three guys who aren't Steve Kerr guys.
All right, so
does that make sense? Like,
okay, so let me have y'all understand something. Pods, Moody, Trace, right? And we're here, everybody on a timeline, even in here, right? People are saying that we have a talent issue on the roster, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we have a roster talent issue, and these are Steve Kerr guys, do you understand why he got locked out of the draft room a few years back? This is why. So when we blame Joe Lacob and people are like, Lacob is a horrible owner and all of this shit, right? Maybe Steve Kerr is a poor talent evaluator.
Eric, you know how I feel about the 2 timeline thing. I think the 2 timeline thing has been a way that a specific section of the fan base has been avoiding accountability for the Draymond and Steve thing, when in reality, an organization that wants to have its longevity built in always finds a way to bring in young talent, but the young talent cannot be relied upon to win you championships. I asked this question yesterday. How big is a playoff rotation? People were saying 8, 9, 10. How many roster spots do you have after that? You have 4 or 5. If you have 2, 3, 4 high, like lottery picks, let alone 2 lottery picks and 2 second-round picks, right? Trace, Post, Moody, and JK. Moody and JK were the lottery picks, 7 and 14. 52 and 53 were Post and TJD, right? The only other guy is Pods, and he was what, 18th overall? Something like that. You've got 4 or 5 guys on the roster, and you have 10 more roster spots that are probably supposed to be your playoff rotation. Now, ideally, you want 1 or 2 out of those 5 young players to put in minutes. Cool. But those 8 guys, those 3 guys outside the starting lineup have to be a complement to your championship core. And that's where we've missed, bro. That's where we've missed. The 2 timeline thing got pushed as an anti front office agenda because it's easy to go after the billionaire. But people didn't want Steve Kerr having to be held accountable. People didn't want Draymond Green and Klay Thompson and Steph Curry to be held accountable. So they went after the front office. They went after the front office. And you might think to yourself, hey, isn't what you're saying contradictory? Because you're saying that they have to hit in the margins? Yeah. But when you miss in the margins and then actively stifle 2 of your lottery picks, 2 of them, in favor of those front office misses, in favor of JaMychal Green, in favor of Anthony Lamb, in favor of, bro, we can't do this thing where it's like, oh, we've got to absolve Draymond of blame, so let's go after the front office. No, that eat the billionaire shit's not going to work, bro. I know what you're trying to do. We built a roster around Draymond Green, and we want to blame that on Lacob. Lacob's been trying to build a viable, bro. I'm not an ownership guy, bro. Lacob is an ass. He's an arrogant ass. This is known, right? We know this. This is known. He picked the wrong guy. Right idea, wrong guy in James Wiseman. You think, I said this the other day, you think James Wiseman was supposed to replace Steph? Get the fuck out of here, bro. Anybody who pushed that agenda is an idiot. You're stupid, bro. When did James Wiseman's rookie contract end? Somebody tell me. When did he sign his first contract after his 2023? Guess what? 2023 was when ideally you wanted that guy to be a starter.
Hey, Linda, look at this play right here, okay? Look at this play.
Oh shit. Okay, yeah, all right.
You see this
Top
play?
of the key, Rudy Gobert to match
Keep
up.
your eyes on JK, okay?
Yeah. He
Keep your
cuts
eyes
to
on
the key,
JK.
but then fills in the opposite corner there, boom. Yeah.
All right. Will TJD ever do this on an NBA court?
No, he kind of can't. The best you can get from TJD in this play. So go ahead and start it from the beginning. Watch where JK starts, and they're different positions. So like, let's just keep that in mind. So here's JK, right? JK comes up, sets a screen, tries to force a switch, cuts through the middle of the basket. Stop it right here. Like when JK's on the block. So back it up like 4 seconds when JK's on, like he's still kind of low. The most you're going to get at Trace is this right here. And so when somebody drives, he's just going to come up towards the hashes. He's going to come up towards the hashes to like make room. He's not going to the corner. He's not even going to flatten out and go to the baseline because he's not hitting that shot. So the answer is a resounding fucking no.
Okay.
He's never doing anything like this.
All right. I get that JK is not the greatest shooter in the world, right? I think practice, you become a better shooter. 500 shots a day over the summer, you become a better shooter. And everybody shoots the ball now, bro. My thing is like, in this series, why were we holding this kid back? We just needed a chance, bro. We just needed a chance.
The basketball reasons are dead. And if they're not dead, they're dying, and they'll be dead by the end of the summer.
The basketball reasons for me personally was dead.
They've been dead, bro. They've been dead.
Because
holding JK back.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this, bro. The minute I seen Draymond and TJD out there, right? All the clips that people are posting online, and they're saying, well, he ain't smart, he ain't this, he ain't that. When you put TJD out there with Draymond and Jimmy Butler, your arguments were dead to me.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to a word y'all say. I see, he's not in this spot and he missed this rotation and all of that, right? Like, which by the way, everybody misses like go back and watch Klay Thompson back in the day.
But
watch how he used to.
But that's the thing. That's the thing, though. Like let's just talk about this team. You think JK, and again, it sucks. It sucks that we have to do this. You think JK missed more rotations than Buddy Hield? And so I know the response is, yeah, well, Buddy Hield's out there to be a shooter. Don't we need our two to fucking defend? We didn't see Buddy defending significantly until the last like 2-3 weeks. Right? How many times has Pods completely not just missed a rotation, but pointed somebody in the wrong direction this year on defense? So if we're gonna do this thing where it's like, oh well, okay, he gets lost. I'm like, first of all, I seen JK get count on one hand the number of times JK got lost. But if we're talking about missed rotations, bro, come on, man.
Pisses me off.
Defense. Bro. That's good defense there, but also just kind of a stupid shot. What are you shooting from behind the backboard for?
Non-shooter.
Yeah.
Shooter.
Yeah.
And he gets 3 feet away from the rim. Anybody can do that, bro. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to be honest, and this is not a Pod's criticism, you know what the ideal play is there? So when he rolls, he gets too deep into the paint to keep his options open. I'm glad he hit it. I want him to hit it and be decisive on the floater. But where he gets this, watch where he gets this ball. Watch where he gets this ball. Boom. Right there. What I want from him, because he's got so much space, I actually want him to go out to the perimeter and then get into the paint. And I'll tell you why. You have the option of, I still got the floater there because nobody's the fuck out there. I still got the floater there. If I want to hit the paint, I can. But if I want to hit the shoot in the corner, I can also do that. What he decides to do here is he kind of cuts off his options. He even has the bounce pass to Draymond here. Again, I don't think this is a play where you like kind of criticize him. I just was kind of breaking down the play, but he hit the floater, which is what we wanted to do this season. So I'm not tripping. But he's got Buddy in the corner there. He's got Draymond right there on the bounce pass, and he's even got Moody there too. Like he's even got Moody in his scope there.
Steph Curry will never get an assist for this play, or he did. But there's sometimes when Draymond is here and Draymond gets the assist. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what you're saying, he won't get credit for that play. Like,
no, he ain't gonna get credit.
Nobody's gonna bring that up.
Like you, bro. This is what we were missing in the series right here, bro.
Yeah,
this right here. Pods gets the bucket, Steph gets the assist, but more times than not, you are committing to the ball handler, and when you commit, you pass, right? So, a lot of this shit was happening this year, bro. It's so disheartening. So when people say, "Oh, blah 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 blah," I was like, this wasn't happening on every play. For the 35 minutes that Steph usually plays in the playoffs, 35 to 40 minutes, this was not happening, right? So it was a uphill battle. So we had no business winning the series, but I was just hoping that we could pull off a game. Didn't happen.
Unlabeled. I don't think you're wrong, and I think you missed the part where I said I don't think that's a criticism. But I want you to put JK in that situation. What's the first thing niggas will say? Oh, he missed Buddy there in the corner. So, respectfully, let's keep it a buck. Like, let's keep it even here. I don't think that's a bad play by Pods. I think he cut off his options, but I think he capitalized. Unlabeled, I've seen you say that about JK multiple times, or things of that nature. So it's like, again, I'm not going at you. I'm just saying, like, what the conversation around that dude was all year long. If JK tries to make a layup there, the first thing people would say is, he missed Buddy in the corner. That's an easy look, bro. You got to be able to make that look. If JK took a contested layup on Şengün, that is what people would say. And you can't tell me otherwise, because that's what's been happening all year long, bro.
When Draymond can do this on offense, right? Now, this is what was working when shit like this 3-man game right here, when this can happen. And by the way, out of this, say they switch perfectly right here, then Steph slips, he's out here, that's an open shot. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they want to create offense. That's how they want to create offense. We were missing.
Erg, let me ask you something. Is that a motion set? Start that from the beginning. I'd like to watch that again, actually. So Steph's on ball. This ball immediately, look. Oh my God. Okay, Draymond. All right, here we go. There we go. Yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah. I was say that's not quite. And we do that a lot, by the way. We run these 3-man sets where like the other two guys are just chilling. And I'm be honest, there's a lot of times I don't like it when it doesn't involve Steph.
We were trying to run this shit. And it's just not the same, man. It's just not the same.
Bro, Erg, we do this thing, and Steph Curry was healthy, by the way, when we were doing this. He's just on the bench. Where we run these 3-man sets, and 2 dudes are just out there meant to be like dump offs. And I'm like, yeah, nah, bro. I don't care who you have on the court. If it's not Steph Curry, that's just not gonna do it.
I don't have much hope for it. You're right.
It's like, how do you have an offense that only involves, bro, an offense that only involves 3 people, and Steph Curry's not out there generating your mismatches or your advantages? Oh my. And he was just spamming that shit, spamming it. This man was running it with GP2, Buddy, and Pods, bro. And we're like, oh, cool. JK, by the way, JK and Post chilling in the corner with their hands up, wondering why we're running a 3-man game with Draymond, Pods, GP2, Trace. Oh man. We're gonna add some more.
Rondell, what does this team even look like if next year if they keep JK? Like, is he gonna start? What is it like? What does it even look like?
I'm trying to figure that out, because so you gotta think about this at least me. This is the way I think about it. I'm in a room or my agent's texting me, right? The agent's in a room and they're negotiating me coming back to this team. Forget everything that's been said up to this point. It sounds like JK and Steve Kerr's last conversation was a positive one. Either that, or somebody in the media got a hold of JK and was like, hey, here's how we're going to play this. Tell him that your relationship's in good shape and that he's part of the reason why you've been so successful. Like that's one of those two things that's happened. But it sounds like the relationship is better now than it was 2 weeks ago. I got to negotiate with that dude. And so the problem is, if you're going to pay him, let's on the low end, he's not making 24, right? But let's pretend in an alternate universe he makes 24 million. Is that dude coming off the bench? Let's pretend that the unspoken rule is you're not going to make more than Draymond that first year. That means he's making less than 27. Even if he makes 27, is JK coming off the bench again next year? Is
So
Draymond coming off the bench?
that's kind of what I'm asking, right? So okay, we have hierarchy, right?
Yeah.
So if JK gets, paid or whatever, and we having these little meetings drifting off, is JK a part of these meetings? Or is he still a nigga that's just supposed to just like, what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying
But
to
here's
figure
why I
out.
asked the question. So, Zach, here's why I asked the question. You have to look at it, and this is how I do like the process of elimination, and why I'm just like, I just don't know. Because say you sign him to the number and think, all right, let's sign him, and then let's get to February, right? Let's get to February and see what happens. That's a waste of somebody's time because are you going to start JK just to have somebody else fill that, like a new guy fill that role in February? That seems like a severe waste of time, both JK's time and whoever it is that's supposed to be playing in that spot, right? So it's been crazy. Yesterday was I don't think people understand or caught all this stuff. There's a lot of buzz about JK potentially returning. Do I think they still trade him if they get a good offer? Yeah, but the fact that there's legitimate noise from multiple sources that they could be looking at a reunion is wild. Because, and I'm not saying it has to happen, I'm just saying it makes the most sense. If you're bringing JK back at 28 million, that means the tradability of a certain someone is higher than it's ever been. And that what you need to do is you need to find somebody who defensively picks up the slack of that player's losing that player, which I don't think has been all that difficult. I don't think 23 has been if they bring back JK at 28 million with the intent to keep him. Yeah, Brandon, my projection for 30, it'll be 30 a year. 28 will be for the first year. That's why I keep saying 28. If you're bringing him in at 28 million a year with the intention to keep him, I don't think Draymond's ever been more tradable than he is right now. Because what, you gonna play Jimmy as shooting guard and then bring in a center? I don't think so.
Insane.
I don't think so.
All right, y'all. Let me wrap it up until the game tonight. We got Celtics Knicks tonight, y'all.
Yeah.
All right. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Great session today. We'll be back. We got a long summer and it's full force. I'll see y'all this evening, though.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate y'all.